Yeah, I think it's because everybody else on No
It's a
Gods
British
Americans is
podcast.
British.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it
has
is
to
an
be.
American show legally.
Oh, it is.
I mean, for like the LLC we run it through is mine, which is American, and that
didn't
way
know
we
that.
can say whatever we want about anybody.
Right. That makes
that's
sense.
That's why I'm
Yeah,
allowed to say that Andrew Cuomo killed and ate somebody in front of me.
He did do that.
He sure
He
did.
did that also for me in a separate occasion, which was crazy.
Was it the same person? Did he bring the corpse with him to the second eating?
And
Yeah.
he brought them back to life using dark magics with a K, which is the worst kind of magic, obviously.
Sort of a
And-
necromancy, also with a K, which is also what they did to Charlie Kirk.
Many possible worlds, but we got this one. So many possible worlds, but we got this one.
Welcome to the Worst of All Possible Worlds, the first and only free speech podcast. I'm the worst of all possible Joshes.
The worst of all possible ages.
And I'm the worst of all possible Brians.
We're excited because we are here for yet another week of case studies in the pop culture of a dying empire with your friend and ours, Mattie Lubchansky, an absolutely brilliant author. She's the best-selling author of the hit graphic novels Boys Weekend and the Antifa Super Soldier Cookbook. She also co-hosts No Gods, No Mayors, which is a podcast that investigates the strangest people ever to hold that municipal office, and Temporal Culture War, where she and Clayton Ashley figure out what the hell is going on in culture in the early 2000s while they wade through episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. And her newest novel, In the Land of Simplicity, an account of the unusual peoples of the former United States and a sojourn through the exurb zones and other unsecured territories by an intrepid explorer from the Coalition of Secured City-States, is available now. Yes, once again, please welcome the one, the only, Mattie Lubchansky.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for reading the full cover that they would not put, the full title that they would not put on the cover of the book.
Cowards.
Oh,
Cowards.
horrible.
All of them. The last time we had you on was, like a year and a half ago at least, when we
was
talked about Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. I barely remember the episode because I remember getting completely zooted on Beetlejuice Fantas.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
I drank the
Those
Fantas
horrible
Green as
sodas. Yeah, it was in my apartment.
In the boat. In the houseboat, yes.
I'm moving this week to a new apartment.
You're moving
so,
the boat to a different location.
That's right.
yes,
yeah. It's been dry docked for a while.
Haven't we all?
Mattie, you're coming off the back of doing some touring for the book.
Yeah, I finished that book right around the time I was on the show last, I think. The response has been kind of amazing. Book tour was like incredible. I feel as if I've taken a long journey through the woods where I learned a lot about myself and the world. And
You
a
know
lot
things
of-
now, many valuable things.
Isn't it nice to know a lot?
And a
A
little
little bit
bit.
not. That's not true. I actually am mostly
Huge if true.
See, because when you were at my apartment last time, or at the boat last time, drinking
Yeah.
my
Gone off that
Beetlejuice.
juice.
But when you were there, the topic of Stephen Sondheim came up,
Yeah.
as it does whenever the three of us hosts are in private conversation.
Or honestly, if you're just walking down the street, we will corner you and be like, have you heard the good news?
watching you stroll down the street from a half a block away and you're just like, ah.
AJ and Brian actually walk around with the little name tags on like Mormons.
Yeah.
Ask me about Steve.
It's like it's not even that musical. It's a different musical because we're here to talk about Into the Woods this week.
Yes.
The Stephen Sondheim musical that most people know best, maybe aside
Yes.
from West Side Story.
I'd say maybe Sweeney Todd.
Maybe.
I
would
don't think
say that-
Sweeney Todd is as well known as Into the Woods
That's
just because everybody has gone to a high school that has done Into the Woods at some point in time.
And now the movie's out, and you
Yeah,
know,
just
that
now
left
this
a
movie
huge
just came
cultural
out.
footprint.
That's right. What, 11 years ago, right?
And it was just so good.
It's
It
so-
was
yeah.
so good.
Everyone loved
But
it.
Mattie, you're a Sondheim fan, right?
I'm a Sondheim obsessive. I often worry that I don't actually like musical theater and I just like Stephen Sondheim. Whereas like, you're like, well, what are your favorite musicals? And I'll list like 5 Sondheims and be like, do I actually like other musicals?
Is it a cabaret or like
I
any of
love
the Candor
Cabaret,
Nabs?
but you know what I really love is fucking the movie version of Cabaret where they get rid of half the songs.
Yeah.
And they get rid of those annoying Jews.
I mean, that's kind of what Cabaret is all
you
about
don't
at
like
the end of
me,
the day.
Sky? Come on.
No, the grocery store people are
nice.
I'm sorry, I call Jews grocery store people. I don't mean that. I don't mean that about us. Okay, to be clear, if you haven't clocked this from my last name, I am Jewish. No, I love Sondheim so much. I love this show so much. It's one of those things where like if I would like to cry, I'll just throw on No One Is Alone and I will be weeping immediately. I was doing that on the street on the way back to my house just now to record.
AJ and Brian walked up to you. They were wearing the name tags.
Yeah, I went to the fucking Stephen Sondheim auction, like the launch of
you actually went there?
I went to the launch.
Oh
A friend of mine works for the New Yorker, and she was like, to a couple of us in a group chat, was like, do you guys want to come? I could probably get +1s if I asked like the organizers. And I think they were hyped to have people at the estate auction opening that were under the age of 70. So like 7 of us went and we all got added to the thing. And I was like, oh, great. And then I was like walking around. I was like, you know what? I think a lot of this stuff is going to be really like, okay, I know that I'm not going to have the amount of money to get in the auction, the board game that he designed, or the barber coat that says Steve on it with Sweeney Todd on the back. I know I'm not going to get that shit, but I saw like, oh, he owned this little New Yorker cartoon printout or whatever that was framed. And I was like, maybe me and my friends could all chip in for this lot of 4 cartoons and we all pitch in $200 and we can get this lot. And then like I tried to watch the auction. It was like boxes of pencils that he owned and never used were going for like $7,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Everything was going for more than like 10 times of what it was being listed for. Like I had the catalog and a lot of things. I was like, these seem like kind of low prices, and they were phenomenally low prices.
Like Stephen Sondheim wouldn't have even touched those pencils. They were unused.
However, there's a whole thing about him and his black
wings. I get it.
Lydia Tarr owns them.
So let's talk about our, like I said, Into the Woods is one of those shows that everyone's high school did at some point, whether they were in it or not.
Yes.
What were our personal experiences with Into the Woods? I mean, Mattie, you're a New Yorker. Did you see this on Broadway?
I'm from nearby the Big Apple, baby. No, the first time I ever saw it staged was the Encores thing a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the concert,
which ended up transferring to Broadway later.
I liked that production because I thought Gavin Creel was incredible.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace.
My first experience with this was like I was just really into Sondheim, and I just hadn't seen a lot of it staged. I was like mostly listening to it, and I think my first experience with Into the Woods was watching this exact YouTube video of the PBS 1991 American Playhouse that was like taped in like 88 or something. Watching that on YouTube like 15 years ago. And just having my absolute shit knocked out of my brain.
What was your first Sondheim?
My first Sondheim that I saw staged,
or were exposed to, or
it must. It must have been Sweeney Todd.
Okay.
Most of my Sondheim has been like listening to cast recordings.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like every time a production pops up, I will go see it. Like I saw the Sunday in the Park with George with
Jake Gyllenhaal
when he was in his Bernstein Madness phase of his career. But like in the last 15 years, I'd say there is a Sondheim production on or off Broadway. I have seen it.
So your experience with Into the Woods started with the taped version for PBS of the original Broadway production.
Yes.
It's taped.
Yeah. It was that for me as well, because we were watching it in anticipation of starting rehearsals for doing it in high school. Because when I was a freshman in high school, I played Jack.
A question that I have for you about that, Brian.
Yeah.
Were you doing full Into the Woods, or were you doing just Into the Woods Junior? Because to be clear, when they license this show for community organizations and schools, oftentimes you have to just do the first act of the show, which is known as Into the Woods Junior for licensing reasons.
Well, it's not for licensing reasons. It's something that you voluntarily choose to do.
Yeah. It's more expensive to do the full version, but
I think it's because it's 45 hours long.
Yeah.
And children are not good at singing.
Yeah. The full show is about 3 hours long. Most of the time it's done by amateurs because it's really hard to pick up a lot of those cues. There are a lot of lines that were written just to be overlapped. And there are a lot of things that relied on the special effects available on Broadway that are just going to take longer, like transforming an entire character in a matter of seconds.
Right. Also, performing this with a track and not a live orchestra is an absolute nightmare. Because if you miss a single cue, you're gone.
But Into the Woods Junior, the thing that just takes the first act, which is a kind of self-contained story on its own, and lets kids do it, has a lot of rules around it, a lot of restrictions that keep you from doing it if your company is not made up of mostly children. So you have to have a certain number of your cast has to be under a certain age. And I don't even think that age is 18. I think high schools have to do the full Into the Woods.
Oh, wow.
I know this because when I was in college, we were looking for something to do in our January term of college, and a director was like, oh, let's do Into the Woods Junior. Apparently had like talked to MTI, got the rights, and they were like, oh, wait, no, you can't do this because this is a college. So you have to do the full thing. And then we suddenly had to. So that was the second time I did Into the Woods, where I played Cinderella's prince and the wolf, which I should not have done. So speaking of Into the Woods Junior, though, we do have someone on this podcast who was in a production of Into the Woods Junior, right,
yes.
AJ?
Yes, I sure was legally. Yeah, so in eighth grade, my youth theater did a production of Into the Woods that licensed the junior version, and then the director in charge commissioned her friend to do like MIDI tracks for the songs in Act 2, which I think ended up just costing as much as it would have cost.
Which is also ridiculous because back then the whole score was on HamyNet.
Oh, my director did not know how to use a computer. Let's be very clear about that. Yeah, so we did a full version of it, but then she ended up cutting songs anyway, so she wouldn't have to pay as much for the MIDI tracks. So it was kind of an unfinished Act 2.
Yeah.
I played the baker in that show, and I remember that my first exposure into the Woods was actually, we did a Broadway review when I was in middle school where I played Cinderella's Prince, and I also should not have played Cinderella's Prince. And I remember reading the little thing that came in the CD case, like of just the plot of the show.
Yeah.
And being like, I did not know you could do this.
Oh, so you didn't watch the DVD or the VHS tape of the original Broadway production?
Not until later, not until I was actually performing, because then I played the baker in my production, and it also served as the first time
How old were you?
I think I was 14 when I did Into the 14 or 15, and it was also the first production where I rewrote the lyrics to a song for the first time. I changed the lyrics to Giants in the Sky to Giant in My Pants.
Sure. That's pretty funny.
Wait, AJ, first time and last time you ever did this, right?
Yeah, no, first and last time.
You don't write joke lyrics for things.
Well, but yeah, no, and all I remember of that song is that the last line was, there's a big, tall, terrible, awesome, veiny, wonderful giant in my pants, because I thought that changing one word was enough, I guess, back then. And all the moms made me perform it for them, and they thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Was that weird? Okay.
Yes.
Maybe it was me saying it out loud to realize it was weird. I thought it was very normal.
What do you think, Mattie? Do you think that's kind of weird? The moms wanting a 14-year-old AJ to sing a song about his boner?
I think it's not great.
Yeah.
I think here's what I'll say.
We should cancel the moms.
I think those moms should be playing the wolf in a production of Into the Woods.
Hey, there we go.
The worst thing I can say about a person.
On the subject of joke lyrics, the Cinderella's Prince in my high school production used to sing to me, Jack, 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 balls in your sack, your wiener's getting longer.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I will say, I think that scans better.
Yeah. So those are our experiences, except for yours, Josh. What's your experience with Into the Woods?
I didn't have one. I mean, except that the middle school did a production of Into the Woods Junior at one point when I was already in high school.
So you didn't see it?
I did see it.
Okay.
And I remember nothing about it because it was not a good production. Because what production of Into the Woods Junior is going to be good?
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
I don't know.
Children shouldn't do things.
Children,
They're bad at
shouldn't.
everything.
They will listen.
I realize actually my first real impression of the show is that my wife, my beautiful wife Jaya, she did it in high school. She was one of Cinderella's sisters, and I'm friends with a couple of her friends from high school, and they would talk about it sometimes, and I was like, this sounds incredible. But the thing that I can't get over is that any high school does any Sondheim, especially this show, it just seems so fucking hard. The harmonies are impossible.
It's so hard.
You should be doing Grease, right? Like, it's just like, you just do Grease. I don't like my high school musicals were fucking Grease, Annie, Little Shop of Horrors.
Were you in any of them, or were you backstage? Or
I was in the chorus I was on the team for Damn Yankees. I was one of the Burger Palace boys in Grease because, and this is some Mattie lore, is that I was born a man. And why is that funny? Anyways, it's strange that you're laughing. That's all. Yeah, and I was the sort of like robotic customer in Little Shop.
Oh, yeah.
The Christopher Guest role in the movie. You know what? That might be maybe my actual favorite musical above the Sondheims is Little Shop, which I love.
Sure.
So, because much like Sondheim, it is a cubist painting of a musical, which I just love it so much. And then Annie was my retirement. They were like, we're doing Annie. And I was like, absolutely not am I doing Annie. I'm going to paint the set. And thus kicking off a long life of lesbianism. But, I don't know why that's
another
funny.
piece of the Mattie lore.
That's another piece of Mattie lore. I'm kind of just like flabbergasted that anyone would attempt this fucking show because it seems impossible to perform.
Yeah, both technically and thematically, as we'll get to talking about. This is a show that I think is dealing with stuff that maybe high schoolers are not fully equipped to be able to do at all. I don't know.
I disagree. I think it's a great show for teenagers, especially if they're teenagers who have been through some shit. And the short version of my story is that when we were working on our production of Into the Woods in high school, my freshman year, we went through a lot of shit. That's why I think that Into the Woods Jr. is an obscenity. I understand why it exists because Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine want to have that nice Into the Woods pension for the rest of their lives.
Right. Yes,
but,
which they did.
The show does not mean anything without Act 2.
It means nothing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also, the minute you and your teenage buddies nail your fault for the first time, it's the greatest day of your fucking life. You feel like a god.
So let's get into it. We're talking about all these little things about this show, but for people who don't know anything about it, what is Into the Woods? Well, it's a musical. Oh, that's the episode. Goodbye, everybody. So Sondheim and Lapine, we talked about them before in the we've talked about Sondheim a few times before, but Sondheim and Lapine together as collaborators when they were collaborating each other. We talked about them in our episode about Sunday in the Park with George, which was 20 years ago that we made that episode.
That's right.
So we don't really need to introduce them. Listen to that episode. Stop listening to this one.
James Lapine, though, a director. Yeah. That's what you need to know.
A director and
a
writer.
writer.
And he writes for himself as a director, which is why he writes some of the weirdest things you will ever see in a script.
Giant spectacles, for example.
Giant spectacles. And here we're firmly in the late 80s. The mega musical has taken hold. We have Les Miserables. We have Phantom of the Opera, which will open the same season as Into the Woods, right? A lot of this stuff is coming over from across the pond, as they say. And so James Lapine is like, he's a full-blown nationalist. He's like, let's get this thing, made in America.
Right.
Oh, well.
James Lapine is not a full-blown nationalist, I have to say. He's only...
You said he's a collaborator and a nationalist? That's crazy.
Way to find out. No.
But aesthetically, I think it should be noted about Lapine. His approach is as anti the Brit wave of musicals as possible. I mean, you want to talk about a show like Les Miserables, it could not be more different from a show like Into the Woods in terms of what they're going for aesthetically, even though both of these shows are big fucking productions.
They both have a turntable. That's where the similarities begin and end.
Well, this doesn't have a turntable. It has a knoll that turns,
right?
And then it has treadmills. This is James Lapine's treadmills era.
They should have gotten a turntable in for that rapping witch.
That's a good point.
That's not a good joke. By the way, that's a really bad joke, and I'm very sorry about taking up everyone's time with that one.
No, thank you, and you're welcome, actually. So the way that James Lapine develops a show is over time. He workshops things. Especially his second acts tend to be like, we don't know what we're doing until the very last minute. Right, and Into the Woods is no exception. So the idea for the show was that they wanted to do like a farce, but they also wanted to do an adventure story. And so they just combined the two by slapping a bunch of fairy tales together.
Sondheim finally gets to write his video game.
Yes. And Sondheim actually at one point was thinking about adapting Into the Woods into a computer game in the mid-90s.
That would have been awesome.
Yes.
That would have
Point and click. Give me a LucasArts Into the Woods, for Christ's sake.
Look, Milky White.
It's the pig.
The baker.
The pig.
That would have been so fucking cool.
Instead, the adaptation we got was just as a storybook by the guy who also wrote the book We're Back, which the movie is based on. Wow. Most of these fairy tales are straight from the Brothers Grimm. For people who don't know, the Brothers Grimm were not really authors, they were ethnographers. They actually went around, mostly around the sort of Germany, Silesia, Poland area, and they interviewed old ladies and wrote down what those old ladies told them.
Wait, they were ethnographers who were working on a project by going out into the field?
Yes.
So strange.
Is there a book about that?
I don't know, but it probably has a very long subtitle. That is weirdly, this book my book and Into the Woods, weirdly, I thought a lot about it. Well, they have nothing to do with each other textually, I don't think, really. But like I was thinking about Into the Woods a lot when I was writing it for, I think, more obvious reasons that it takes place in the woods. But like, I'm just always thinking about it. And it was sort of top of mind when I was writing in a way that I think trickles down weirdly into the text.
James Lapine is a Jungian. He is obsessed with Carl Jung. He's written plays about Carl Jung. He loves to explore universal ideas. And so what better way to do that than through folklore, folk tales and fairy tales?
Conceptually, the whole idea is that like people imprint on archetypes in the world, and then they sort of play out their own lives in alignment with those archetypes that are established early in their own lives.
We are all in communion with like a collective consciousness and by extension, a collective unconscious as well. And this expresses itself through the stories that we tell. So the Disney versions of fairy tales are usually what people know. Maybe you grew up with some storybooks, but for the most part, the Disney vision of these fairy tales has completely overpowered everything else. So like Cinderella in Into the Woods looks very different than Cinderella as we understand it from both the Disney and Rodgers and Hammerstein versions, because they're both drawing from Charles Perrault, who wrote his versions down of the fairy tales a couple hundred years before the Brothers Grimm.
And I mean, in general, with the Brothers Grimm, I would say a lot more blood and a lot more violence. This is the thing that you're going to notice.
It's grimmer. But it also, like, some of these stories have just more elements. Cinderella's whole thing takes place over 3 nights instead of 1 night.
People are always getting blinded.
Yeah, people do a lot of blinding.
A lot of blinding.
And so there are 2 exceptions for what goes into this final musical, right? They're mashing up all of these different fairy tales, most of them from the Brothers Grimm. One of these fairy tales that they throw into the musical is a fake one. They make it up. The baker and his wife, the main characters of this story, are from a fairy tale that kind of sounds like something you've heard before, but is totally fabricated for the purposes of plot convenience.
Yes, James Lapine described them as a lovely couple from Brooklyn.
Yes. And the other one is Jack and the Beanstalk, which is a sort of peculiarly English story.
Hold on. Are you telling me that the story about a guy going up to a different like nation that has more than him, taking that stuff and then murdering a resident of that nation is a British story?
And then getting mad when they show up back in your country. That's interesting.
That's really weird.
Fascinating.
The Jack story stands out in the middle of all these because all these fairy tales have morals, very clear morals. Don't talk to strangers, things like that. And then the Jack and the Beanstalk one is like, you can just steal stuff and kill people as long as they're different from you.
I thought the moral of Jack and the Beanstalk was, wouldn't it rock if a harp could play itself? Pretty cool, man.
What if a harp was a sexy lady?
What if my goose laid gold?
This musical, as I said before, James Lapine likes to do things as a process. So this musical has to start out of town in a long engagement in San Diego, California.
That's where I'm from.
Was this the Old Globe? Or?
This is the Old Globe
Globe
Theater,
okay.
which is a pretty small house.
There are some interviews that say La Jolla Playhouse.
There are. I have been thinking it was La Jolla for years because Bernadette Peters says it at one point because she didn't do it in San Diego. She's like, oh, they did it out in La Jolla.
That's the thing about you go out to San Diego, your brain kind of melts a little bit. And I say this as a homegrown San Diegan, but like, it's they're very close together.
But no, the Old Globe Theater, which is a very charming place. It looks like the Globe Theater on the outside.
It's beautiful in Balboa Park.
They do like a 50 performance run, I think, out in the Old Globe.
It's quite a long one.
And I've seen the finale from the last performance in San Diego of Into the Woods. And it is horrible. It is unrecognizable. It's so weird.
What happens? Do you want to talk about it?
Nothing happens. Very little happens. It's just like all of the different tunes come back together and they wrap it up, and then another beanstalk starts growing and they pull it out before it has the chance to grow too tall, and then everybody claps and it's over. Like, they really didn't bring all of their plot elements together until they got to New York.
The Big Apple.
And it's fascinating that you can find old clips. So Bernadette Peters wasn't part of the show yet. It was Ellen Foley from Night Court as the witch. And there are a few different songs, with one exception, in my opinion. All of the cut songs from Into the Woods are unlistenable.
For in the night I woke and found the bean was sprouted, intertwined, and all combined to form a stout and stately kind of beanstalk. Up and up and up it grew, up past the trees, and up and through the clouds, and up into the sky, and up it climbed, and so did I, and up and up and up so high I thought I'd drop, I'd fall and die a violent death. I had to stop I catch my breath. But then
Sondheim put out some real farts and realized that he needed to fix them and did fix them in the end. So then they have an extended period of time where they get ready to start in New York. They write some new songs. They get it done in rehearsals. In previews, they have a whole bunch of songs that also get cut, including the one that I really love. And over the course of like the 1 month that you do previews, the show changed drastically until finally, they had the version that opened. Last Midnight was sung on the night that critics were in the house.
Wow. Yeah, for the first time. Yeah.
That was like Bernadette Peters is going out there with it barely in her head and is like, oh, please, God, get me through this.
And to the point of Bernadette Peters, of course, who is the witch, one of the main characters in the show. This was new casting between San Diego and Broadway.
They wanted a star for the witch because the witch is kind of the glue between all these stories. Mm-hmm. Betty Buckley did the demo recordings way back, like when they were still just workshopping it. And they wanted to get Betty Buckley. Betty Buckley was doing a little too much cocaine at the time. It was just not going to work out. And so they went to someone who was doing an equal amount of cocaine, Mattie Lubchansky, because I guess she was just a little bit more functional with it at that time. And Mattie Lubchansky instead decided to do Anything Goes, which is this sort of like hinge point in her life. I think it keeps her from ever being able to originate a Sondheim role. But they're finally able, like they're always calling Bernadette Peters on the phone. You know, they had her first Sunday in the Park with George. They're like, who doesn't want to have Bernadette Peters, right?
Yeah.
So she finally says, yes, I can do it, but only for this really short time. She only does it for like the first 5 months of the run. But James Lapine had this big idea of, you know, huge special effects and everything. And he wanted this Rapunzel's tower that is able to emerge from the stage through a trap door. And the producers were like, well, if you get Bernadette Peters, we can get you that tower.
And Mattie, I'm assuming you're a Bernadette Peters fan, right?
Who could not be a watching? Because I had not watched this in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Watching it again, I was just like out of my fucking gourd watching her. Like, what a beautiful ham.
Beautiful in all senses, right?
Yeah.
Like, she is performing beautifully, and she's also so fucking
so
good
gorgeous
to look at.
She's so hot and so
hot.
That dress is
funny.
Incredible. The big reveal at the end of
I'm going to talk
all
about the costumes.
Yeah.
I love the costumes in
and
this show.
she's so unafraid of just being ugly and being hilarious, which is she's kind of unique among our divas in how low she's able to stoop as a performer.
Yeah, like I think Mattie Lubchansky would have done a horrible job at this.
Yeah,
she's not willing to embarrass
I think she would have been
herself.
fired.
Yeah, I think they would have had to write her differently. Yeah.
Also, like Lapine, it would have been a problem.
Yeah, everyone would have been so confused.
Everyone would have really, Lapine. There's a lupine wolf.
When this comes to Broadway, it goes to the Martin Beck Theater, which is now the Al Hirschfeld, which is where Moulin Rouge is playing now.
Right, that's a big house.
Kinky Boots was there for a long time too. It's one of the like 4 or 5 houses that you put like a blockbuster show into.
It's a big house with lots and lots of room.
That's
it's
so
a capacity of 1,424 seats, which is 24 more seats than the Richard Rodgers where Hamilton is playing.
God damn. That's crazy. That is crazy.
It is so crazy,
for
and
this
I
show,
love
that is
for
crazy.
this show. I would have thought they would have put it in like the Booth, like a small theater.
Yeah, it could do very well at a place like the Booth or the Music Box, but Sondheim, who worked with Hal Prince for so many years, talked about this with Sweeney Todd. He's like, if you get the chance to do it big the first time, take it. Because you never do a small show that gets big later. You can always do a big show that gets small later.
And I feel, and then when they put it up most recently, they put it up at the St. James, right? Which is also fucking huge.
Right, but now it has like the name recognition. It's the Sondheim.
Right.
It's in
and they had Sarah Bareilles and
Brian Darcy James.
Brian
Those
Darcy
eyebrows
James
sell
is the baker, which is
tickets.
so cool and good.
You can't put Brian Darcy James in a small house. He just won't fit.
No, he's too loud.
he's a big, loud man.
He bursts out of it. He bursts out of that outhouse.
He does, dressed as Shrek. He was dressed as Shrek the whole time. So
yeah, I thought it was a weird choice that he played the baker as Shrek. But he was credited in the playbill as Shrek.
Right.
And it said like you might rank who's who in the cast, and it says Shrek. And like Shrek is the star of Shrek, Shrek 2, Shrek 3, and Shrek Forever After. And it was like, that's just a weird.
Yeah, it's like he wasn't even in the movies. He's just taking someone else's credit.
Yeah.
He's referring to the cow as Donkey the whole time. that was one of the stars that they got for Into the Woods was as the witch. Later on, when they got rid of Bernadette Peters,
when they took her out.
Fuck out of here.
They got Felicia Rashad actually stepped in the brief period before the Cosby Show was filming the next season. Betsy Jocelyn also filled in, and then Ellen Foley was the last one until they taped it at the very end of the run.
Okay.
So Ellen Foley has a signed copy of the score that Sondheim signed that says "To Ellen, the Alpha and Omega." Because she played it in San Diego and then she played it at the end of Broadway. But yeah, James Lapine is the filming guy. He filmed everything he did with Sondheim. Sunday in the Park with George, Into the Woods, and Passion. And so Into the Woods got to broadcast on PBS, on videotape, which means that everyone gets to see the original Broadway production with some alterations made for the broadcast, which we'll talk about. The Tonys are very interesting this year. The 80s are kind of an odd time for Broadway musicals in general. But there's stiff competition. Like we said, Phantom of the Opera, Anything Goes, starring Patti Lupone as Reno Sweeney. Into the Woods gets some big awards. It gets Best Book for James Lapine. It gets Best Score for Sondheim. It gets Best Actress for Joanna Gleason as the baker's wife.
Correct.
Yes, very correct.
Very
and Lupone
correct.
never lets this go.
Yeah.
Oh, is she weird and bitter about something?
Just one thing.
She's so weird and bitter about this
my
one in
friend
particular.
Patty?
That was the thing she turned down Into the Woods for.
Well, I mean, look, Joanna was fucking great.
Yeah,
I
how
don't
do you
know.
beat it? I don't know. It's one of the top musical theater performances of all fucking time.
Yeah.
But it does lose Best Musical and Director
Stinky.
to Phantom of the Opera.
Hal Prince gets his revenge on Stephen
because Hal
Sondheim.
Prince directed Phantom of the Opera. And did you see Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, any of you three?
Yes, I saw it in I want to say the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, so it was still pretty
just
fresh.
Once?
It was still pretty fresh.
Yeah. I saw it in 2019. It was creaky and dusty, but you know what? I totally understand. The direction is so fucking good.
Sure.
Hal Prince was like, what if I did Citizen Kane on stage for the first 15 minutes of this musical, and then from there you're in heaven. It's so good.
My problems with Phantom of the Opera are all with Mr. Lloyd Webber, my least favorite living artist.
Correct.
I think the music is bad and sounds bad and makes me angry and I hate it.
Yeah.
I think
he makes up for it by being a good person who also looks good. Somewhere along the way, Sondheim realizes as they're working on this, and he says this to James Lapine kind of idly, this might make us a lot of money. Not necessarily on Broadway, but like with schools, you know? And he was right. I mean, obviously it's an easy log line. It's just like, what if all the fairy tales were together in one big musical? Great. Let's do it. Oh, by the way, the music is the hardest shit in the entire world.
Yeah.
Then this immediately gets a lot of attention for a potential movie adaptation. The nature of this show doesn't really serve a movie very well, but the concept certainly does if you are ready to just rewrite the whole score.
I'm glad they never attempted the movie.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it was never
What would
made.
that look
I'm really
like?
glad it never got made. But somebody tried, and that man's name was Jim Henson.
Yeah.
So this was going to be a Henson production.
Yeah, not with the Muppets, but
It got as far as 2 readings that were pretty star-studded. And I'm just going to read to you some of the names that were at
let's
that
hear it.
second reading. Okay, as the baker, Robin Williams.
Okay.
As
Okay.
the baker's wife, Goldie Hawn. As the witch, Cher.
Oh, what?
As Lucinda, Carrie Fisher. As Florinda, BB Newirth. No. As Cinderella, Moira Kelly. As Cinderella's prince, Kyle MacLachlan. As Rapunzel's prince, Brendan Fraser. As Jack, Elijah Wood. As Jack's mother, Roseanne Barr.
oh my God.
As the giant, Danny DeVito.
Yes.
That's my favorite one. I know I'm interrupting you from the very last one, but Danny DeVito in drag as the giant.
That's so good.
We were robbed.
That's all I've ever wanted.
We were robbed.
And as the wolf, Steve Martin.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
This is my Jodorowsky's Dune now. Like this is.
Sondheim did write 2 songs
He wrote
for
2
this that you
songs.
can find. There's demos for him
There's
everywhere.
an alternate opening number that's like more kind of montagey, and it seems like it would. I haven't heard that one. And then he wrote another song called Rainbows, which I think is lovely.
You're always expecting rainbows.
You're always was expecting rain.
Then another movie happened that Disney produced and Rob Marshall directed. And we're just not.
I don't think that's true. I don't seem to remember a movie.
Here's the thing.
We're
not going to talk about this movie at all. What I will say is that the orchestrations in it are really, really interesting. They're very lush. Anyway, let's actually talk about the Broadway show, the thing that we like.
Yes, and you can watch for free on YouTube if you would like.
You can watch it for free in a kind of lower res than the DVD version, or you can watch it with some really bad upscaling done to it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm hoping that if I get to watch it with the bad upscaling, I also get ads for GLP-1 medication every 15 minutes.
Oh, have I got news for you?
I love the audacity of these people, like, uploading a full Broadway musical that does not belong to them and then monetizing the video.
I love it.
So funny.
Yeah, come on.
I critical support.
The broadcast starts with a close-up of the curtain, and I just want to talk about this curtain for a second.
It's so beautiful.
This is a great curtain.
Good curtain.
I think we talked about the excellent curtain for Wicked when we talked about Wicked last year.
Similar curtain.
But yeah, Into the Woods starts with this solid object as the curtain, right? This isn't actually a curtain. This is a big, solid piece of scenery that actually has these little like doors inside of it that open up. And we open up on 3 houses, just like any classic Roman farce.
Yes, or Fire Emblem.
Correct.
That's true.
Stephen Sondheim also wrote Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Big fan of the series. Yeah.
I wonder which house he was in.
Red Eagle, obviously.
Yeah.
Once upon a time,
I wish
in a far-off kingdom,
more than anything.
lived a fair
More
maiden,
than life.
a sad young lad,
I wish
and a childless baker
More than life. I wish.
with his
More
wife.
than anything. More than the moon. I wish.
the king is giving a festival.
More than life. I wish.
I wish to go to the festival.
More than riches.
I
wish my cow would give us some milk. More than anything. I wish we had a job.
So our 3 houses are Cinderella's house, Jack's house, and the house of our fake fairy tale, the baker and his wife.
And they were beautiful.
This begins a 15-minute long opening number. Probably the longest opening number in Broadway musical history.
It's really long. And I will be perfectly honest, this did start to test my patience at one point because of how long it was.
I find it so efficient. For the amount of stuff you learn in 12 minutes, it would take any lesser show like 24 to 30 minutes to set everything up that they do. And it's a miracle they're able to do that while also singing these songs.
Yeah.
Right. And setting up a motif for each and every one of them.
Yes, Sondheim is a pig in shit here. He's doing the thing that he loves to do best, which is throw a bunch of different motifs at you, make people sing a whole bunch of different things at once, and also intercut everything with the dialogue that was already written that he's been cannibalizing for the score.
You wish to go to the festival?
The poor girl's mother had died.
Cinderella, the festival. What you wish to go to the festival? The festival. The king's festival.
And her father had taken for his new wife
The festival.
a woman with 2 daughters of her own.
Look at your nails. Look at your dress. People would laugh at you. Nevertheless, she still wants to go to the festival and dance before
This is him doing A Weekend in the Country in a little night music.
You can't. You shan't.
I'm getting the car and we're motoring down.
Yes, I'm certain you are, and I'm staying in town. No, I won't. You should pack everything right. No, we do it with you. There's no need to shout. All right, then we'll.
But 3 times as long and as the opener for the show. It's fast, it is relentless, and I think the weirdest thing about this opening number, and this was kind of my first exposure to Sondheim scores, I remember listening to this for the first time and thinking like, you know, this isn't really hummable, is it?
Would you say it's not hummable?
Yeah, hummable melody. Yeah,
Yeah.
dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee.
The way is clear, the light is good. I have no fear, nor no one should. The woods are just trees, the trees are just wood.
It's like a march. This thing is presented as a march because it has to keep the story moving.
Yeah.
It shows us at first, like, you know, here's Jack. He's starving. He needs to sell his cow. He's also best friends with his cow.
I like your bullet point here that says Jack, bullet point, idiot.
That's kind of his character trait, right?
Yeah. He's the dreamer.
Stupid.
His mother is played by the brilliant Barbara Brine, who was also the old woman in Sunday in the Park with George.
She's so good.
Tremendous.
So good.
And also Mozart's mother-in-law in Amadeus in her two just brilliant scenes in that film. I love that she plays an old woman back in 1985 because she died 2 years ago.
Damn.
She died in 2023.
Yeah.
But she was like 97 or something.
She was in her 50s for Sunday in the Park with George, and she was very arthritic. She has trouble with her knees, which is why in Sunday in the Park with George, she's always like sort of placed down whenever she sits on the ground. The nurse always drops her down there. So with the baker and his wife, we hear a little bit, they don't have any children. They want to have children. This is sort of like the story of the fisherman and his wife. And then a little girl from the village comes into the bakery to buy up a bunch of baked goods. Now, who would that be? Well, she's wearing a little red riding hood.
I just got that.
Into the woods, it's time to go. I hate to leave, I have to though. Into the woods, it's time, and so I must begin my
I love this girl.
She's great.
Danielle Furland, yes.
Her voice is so, it's got this crazy, interesting quality to it. It's like a bell or something. It just sounds like an instrument
clear,
or something. It's so good. And she's not in much after this, right?
No, she
was like 16.
She was 16. She sounds like she's in her 20s, right? She has such a developed voice.
I was stunned when I learned that she was like just 16 years old because also her comic timing is
unbelievable. She works over at Boston Children's Theater.
You know, she was in the HBO Normal Heart, I think, as the lesbian friend, I believe.
Oh.
Just after Into the Woods, she also played Frederica in the Lincoln Center production of A Little Night Music that was broadcast on PBS. With Cinderella, we get some of the old parts of her story that, oddly enough, don't end up in the Disney movie. The whole reason she's named Cinderella, or Aschenputtel in the German, or Cendrillon in the French, is it means she is the girl of the cinders. She had to sift through a bunch of cinders to get a bunch of lentils out. So we see her doing that with the help of her bird friends.
Birds in the sky, birds in the eaves, in the leaves, in the fields, in the castles and the ponds.
And a few of those ponds.
Down from the eaves and the leaves, over fields, out of castles and
My favorite special effect in the show, because it is so just sad.
It's just like someone up on a catwalk, like shaking a string.
Yeah, they're kind of twitching, and I guess that's supposed to be like them flapping their wings.
And they play tape of like chirping birds. Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of tape. There's a lot of tape in this show. There's a lot of tape in Phantom, right? Whenever Christine sings that high note, that's a taped note.
What?
It's tape.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's you can't expect a soprano to sing that note eight times a week. It's just unhealthy.
Yeah.
I can and I will. Maybe
trainers.
Hey, live theater. Maybe don't put it in the show then. Andrew. I know you're listening, Andrew.
You fuck.
You fucking
You
bitch.
limey fuck.
Right now he's heartbroken. So we get through some more of this stuff, right? Jack and his mother having constant back and forth about how he needs to sell the cow and how the cow is his friend and how he has the mind of a cow. And the witch comes in from next door.
It's the witch from next door.
The way she enters and leaves every scene is so funny. She kind of just like Muppet walks in.
Yeah. The prosthetics in this are amazing. They're also not what they actually were in the Broadway production. They goose them a little bit for this because she's got prosthetics going all the way down her neck.
Right.
She's got all this latex all over her face. You can find pictures of Bernadette Peters in the production. They give her big bushy eyebrows. They draw lines on her face, and they give her kind of this big sort of goiter on her chin, and that's about it.
Interesting.
However, her hands are the same, where she's given a full extra knuckle on each finger.
Yeah, it's
those
Little hot dog
noodly
hands.
fingers.
Yeah.
And so she comes in and she tells the baker the whole reason that he doesn't have children is because she zapped his nuts with magic. Because it turns out that the baker's dad, who has died in a baking accident, is the father from Rapunzel.
But I don't have the rampant yet. I'd lots to spare. In return, however, I said fair is fair. You can let me have the baby that your wife will bear. And we'll call it square.
I had a brother?
No. But you had a sister.
Now, Rapunzel has never had like a faithful Disney adaptation, so people don't necessarily know all
Tangled.
I said faithful.
Faithful, where they give her, she didn't have a
Tangled
lizard
is
in
a
the German one?
twist. Tangled is a twist. This is where we have Sondheim's attempt at writing rap.
When your mother was with child, she developed an unusual appetite. She took one look at my beautiful garden and told your father that what she wanted more than anything in the world was greens, greens, and nothing but greens. Parsley, peppers, cabbages, and celery, asparagus, and watercress, and bittergourds, and lettuce. He said, all right, but it wasn't.
It's better than the rapping in Hamilton. This is Hamilton Corner with Mattie.
Let's go.
The musical Hamilton is not okay. Aside from the subject matter where it is like whitewashing these devils from American history,
honest to goodness white devils,
like honest to goodness, like demons from hell, like making them look fun and like woke washing their fucking shit. I think the songs in Hamilton that are songs are not bad, and in fact some of them are good. I think specifically the Brian Darcy James recordings of the King songs are good. I think when the people in Hamilton start rapping, it is violence against humanity. And this rapping is plausibly deniable as a song. She doesn't say, my name is the witch and I'm here to say you took my beans in a horrible way.
Sondheim is not drawing from Two Live Crew here. He is drawing from the Music Man.
Yeah,
right? This is spoken.
It is more the Music Man than it is like rapping Rodney.
So she steals this child away and raises her in a tower and makes her grow her hair all long. We know that part of the story. We know Rapunzel, at least in the broad Rapunzel, let your hair down to me. Long hair, Prince finds her, the end. Then they throw in an extra thing. The witch also had beans.
The special beans! Let him know I didn't know he stole my beans. I was watching him crawl back over the wall. Then bang, crash, the lightning flash. And well, that's another story. Never mind.
Yeah, her mother was like, never let those beans get stolen. And we don't exactly know why yet. So the baker's father also stole these beans. And that's when she was like, yeah, so I stole your sister. But also then I was like, your whole family is going to be sterile now because you took my beans.
It's just massively efficient. Like there's just so much to throw at you here.
Yeah.
And I think, if you want to talk about like Jungianism or whatever, I think they do such a good job of being like, you can fill in the blanks as the audience where they need to be filled in. Like the baker and the wife, like I think it's such a beautiful deployment of this thing where it's like, well, you haven't heard that fairy tale, but you've heard fairy tales before, right? Mm-hmm. Idiot. Like, you fucking moron.
You dumb asshole.
I'm pointing a gun at you. No, it's like, it's just like this. It's uncanny that you've never heard it, which sets this weird tone for the whole thing, which I love.
But you also realize you haven't really heard Rapunzel either. And so you hear all these details about it and you're like, well, what's new here?
Yeah. Like I only really know about Rapunzel, the letting down your hair in the tower.
Yeah.
And that's about, and her mom was bad. Like I don't really have and also like most people don't remember every detail of the Grimm thing.
No.
In that way that like when someone tells you like about, I know it's not the Grimms, but like when someone's like, in the original Little Mermaid, she like turns into foam or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it is this thing where like, that you don't know the whole story and the Disney thing is not the actual canonical German folk tale or whatever. And I think they do such a good job of getting you in so quickly for what could be so complicated, and having the narrator there is so good. My man Hugh DeAngelis himself from The Sopranos.
That's right.
Tom Aldridge. I recently saw in Intolerable Cruelty for the first time and playing a demon head of a law firm.
Yep.
Like
he was younger than 60 at this point, which blows my fucking mind.
People used to smoke cigarettes and not wear sunscreen.
He was apparently like everyone's favorite person backstage. Like every time a swing had to go on for Cinderella or whatever, he'd be the guy who's like, you're going to do so great tonight. I can't wait to watch you.
He was their cheerleader. I mean, it's a tremendous performance that we'll get more into because he plays another role in this that we'll meet in a couple scenes.
He's also like 5'1" or 5'2".
And so we get the setup here also for the quest items that we have to get.
You wish to have the curse reversed? I'll need a certain potion first. Go to the wood and bring me back 1, the cow as white as milk. 2, the cape as red as blood. 3, the hair as yellow as corn. 4, the slipper as pure as gold. Bring me these before the time of midnight in 3 days' time, and you shall have, I guarantee, a child as perfect as child can be.
This is really smart because you're seeing a white cow on that stage right this second. Little Red Riding Hood has already left the stage, so you know what that's referencing. You know what the hair is referencing, and you might not know that the slipper is pure as gold is referencing Cinderella, but they do say slipper, and you do think of Cinderella with slippers. So you already know that, okay, now they have to intersect with all these other fairy tales going on. And the baker's like, okay, I'm going to go out and do this. I'm going to put on my dad's old coat that I've never worn before, and look at this. There are 6 beans in the pocket.
6 beans? We'll take them with us.
No, the spell is on my house. Only I can lift the spell.
No,
The spell is on my
on our house.
No,
We must lift
you are
the
not to
spell.
come, and that is final. Now, what am I to return with?
You don't remember? The cow is white as milk, the cape is red as blood, the hair is yellow as corn, the slipper is pure as gold.
The cow is white as...
Those must be the beans that made my nuts bad.
Oh, when Bernadette Peters like keeps pointing at his nuts and her stomach, and there's, like, the
She's so
flash
good.
coming out of the stick.
And she goes, "P'too," like every time.
It's so funny. She is having the absolute, and like, I think knowing that she came back for the filming really informs, I think, this performance to me, where she is having the absolute time of her fucking life on stage.
Yeah.
The baker's wife is like, I'll go out to the woods with you. We're both going to go on this quest. And the baker is like, no, you're a woman. You have to stay home. I'm going to do this. I, the most timid man on the planet, am going to make these decisions myself. And she's like, I'm too much of a go-getter. She's, of course, going to head out. And Cinderella is going to go visit her dead mother's dead mother tree so that she can go to the ball. And, of course, Jack is heading out to sell his cow. So then the big curtain rises and we see the woods for the first time. And there's like a carriage that's rolling by, carrying Cinderella's family and her like drunk, absent father.
The way her dad's body looks. Can we talk about this for one very quick moment?
Edmund Lindeck,
what is the shape of this lad? Is he wearing?
It's a Humpty Dumpty before the Great Fall, I think. It's got that very specific egg.
Yeah, he looks like a candy apple. Just wandering around up there.
He puts on this whistle. Oh, yes.
He looks like an Adventure Time character. Like, what's up? Like, it's crazy.
It's somewhere between Adventure Time and the guards from the Wizard of Oz at the Emerald City.
Yeah. And the steward being another Wizard of Oz. The steward being another Wizard of Oz guard later on. He's
got a real OEO energy about him.
Yeah. And Edmund Lindeck is great in this role. Cinderella's father used to be a bigger role back when it was in San Diego and still in previews and everything. And then they cut it down wisely, though. I love that he just sort of drifts in and is like, I love drinking a lot. I don't care about my daughter, and then drifts off again.
There doesn't have to be a lot here because these are stories that everybody already knows.
Yeah.
So why would you fucking belabor the point? You know?
Finally, the song ends. Everyone's singing the same song that Little Red Riding Hood was singing earlier. Closes out, and then we go to one of the shortest songs in the show. Cinderella is at her mother's grave. She gets her dress. She runs off. These are kind of the obligatory points. They look a little different because this is the German version and not the French version of the story. She gets golden slippers instead of glass slippers. Instead of a fairy godmother, it's her dead mother inside of a tree. Now we know what she's going to be doing for the next 3 nights. And Jack comes in with his cow, and he is met by a character who's just called the Mysterious Man in the script.
Yes. Who is the narrator in a completely new outfit. The quick change is wild.
That's a hard one. Yeah.
Towards the end of the musical, or maybe it's early in Act 2, there's a point where the mystery man goes off stage and the narrator appears immediately to the point where I was like, am I inventing that's the same guy? And I've got the disease in me where I can always pick out voice actors from things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
So like I can tell that it's him because he's got the same like root of his voice, right? But I'm just kind of like, have I been fooled? Is there twins? Like, what's happening?
And this is the show doing something very clever metatheatrically because this is a use of doubling that's not pointing at itself, whereas usually with doubling in musicals, it's something like, John the Baptist and Judas in Godspell, for instance, where like, it's that guy. Yeah. This is not doing that.
Man, whoever wrote that must have sucked at writing musicals.
But they are thematically connected because James Lapine is still a director and writer at the same time. So he's like, if the wolf and Cinderella's prince are played by the same guy, there's going to be a common thread connecting these two characters.
Right.
the penis.
Yeah, the mysterious man at one point was supposed to, an earlier version, he did take off the costume and become the narrator on stage. So I think it was just sort of a breakaway costume.
I mean, it can't be Spirit Gum. That guy can't be ripping that off
No,
and throwing it back on.
No, I think the beard is pretty much just elastic.
But it fits in the aesthetic of the rest of the show.
Yeah, it does. And again, this is a show being done for a very big theater. So you can go with the broader effects and the broader makeup. Instead of having the really elaborate latex mask that Bernadette Peters has for the filming, you can do something a little bit simpler than that.
And there's also something about the sort of spirit Halloweeniness of some of the costuming in this that I think fits really well with like the sort of like children's playhouse setup of the thing.
Yeah, it looks like the illustrations in a book of fairy tales.
Yeah, or like a shitty thing that you would see like in your community center, like that they're just doing Jack and the Beanstalk for the kids that afternoon or whatever.
Yeah, like Jack's costume kind of sucks, and that's an intentional choice.
But you know where they spent a lot of money on a costume? The wolf.
Look at that flesh, pink and plump. Hello, little girl. Tender and fresh, not one lump. Hello.
D-Rocket's on stage, dick first.
This wolf has a cock and balls. Both.
That's right.
That's right.
Cock and balls. A hairless torso.
Yeah. I was reading
shaved
somewhere.
his torso. He has a six-pack.
I was doing research about this, and I think he's got the cock and balls because, and I didn't know this until recently, in nature, wolves have cocks. Male wolves have penises. Yeah,
they have penises.
Uh-huh. So I was watching a nature documentary. I saw that.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite accurate to nature.
And if a wolf was standing up, you see the cock and balls. That's just that's science.
It's his perfect six-pack abs. If a wolf stood up.
Science.
But I want to be very clear about something with this costume design, right? They have not given him a wolf penis. They have given him a human dick
penis.
and balls.
No, that's the thing is people refer to this costume euphemistically as anatomically correct. This is not correct.
It's not anatomically correct.
Nope. No, this is a person who is wearing a vest and nothing else, but he is also a dog.
Right.
And that is because this is the story of Little Red Riding Hood. That's what the wolf represents, is stranger danger.
Hello, little girl, what's your rush? You're missing all the flowers. The sun won't set for hours. Take your time.
Mother said straight ahead, not to delay or be misled.
But slow, little girl, hark and hush. The birds are singing sweetly. You'll miss the birds completely. You're traveling so fleet.
What do they do with this in Into the Woods Junior?
No, they keep it.
They just keep it? Okay.
Yeah. You can sing the song with, it doesn't reference his penis. He doesn't always have a penis.
They changed the lyrics to "Hello, normal girl."
Yeah. What I will say,
respectful colleague.
As AJ was talking about illegal things that you do to change the script of the show that you do, we cut this song when I did it in high school.
Really?
Wow. Yeah,
First
that
of
makes
all,
sense. We kept
we
it.
couldn't afford a wolf costume, so we had this tower that we built on the side of our stage to just be Rapunzel's tower. So it was just a fixed object over stage left. And the top window was for Rapunzel to hang out of. And then we carved a bottom window into it that was a little tiny puppet theater. So every time we had a scene with the big bad wolf, it was a puppet of a wolf and a puppet version of our actor who played the baker Little Red Riding Hood or the granny.
Wow.
It would have been very fun to do that entire song as just like a little fucking hand puppet, but we cut it because of the creep factor, and we were a Christian school.
Oh, because of the allegations, yes.
Yes,
because of
the allegations.
The many puppet allegations.
Incredible. The guy who plays the wolf, it's Robert Westenberg.
Yes.
Incredible job singing through that fucking prosthetic.
Oh yeah.
The prosthetic is so cool.
I'm assuming
too.
the snout must be open at the bottom for his nose because you don't hear any sort of weird mask resonance.
But like he sounds a little weird. Like he's
a little
clearly
weird. Yeah.
struggling to sing through the thing. But it sounds. He's got an incredible voice. But like
also husband to Kim Crosby, who plays Cinderella.
Yeah.
They met doing the show.
Oh, that's nice.
And he was wearing the penis at the time.
Yeah, he was wearing the penis.
It's like you want to see what it really looks like.
Look, it's a great icebreaker.
Yeah,
that's all I'm
they
saying.
got married. They moved to Missouri and like teach musical theater to this day.
Oh,
who says happy endings don't happen?
That's right.
Especially with that wolf costume.
He's still wearing the he teaches at the school. He's
still
wearing
has
the
it.
costume.
You got it.
You think it's got it like framed in his office?
I would just frame
Just keep
the crotch.
penis.
Yeah, just the dick. Yeah, you just
cut
keep
it
the
right
dick.
out. Yeah.
Honey, could you wear the wolf?
So we get to the bakers. This is where a lot of the cleverness of the show shines through, right? The bakers run into Jack and the cow.
I love this cow prop so much.
Of course, Jack sold the cow for 5 magic beans. Who has 5 magic beans? Well, the baker. Well, he has 6, actually. And that's really important, too. But he only gives Jack 5 in exchange for the cow.
The cow, milky white, as you were saying, Mattie, really fun little prop where it's
handle.
just, it's got a handle on it so they can carry it more easily.
This is James Lapine so like to a T, right? Like this is like the cardboard cutout of the soldier in Sunday in the Park with George.
Yeah. So
this
inventive.
Cow does multiple things. It has a little like antenna that sticks out of the foot so it can tip over. It has a mouth that can open and actually devour things like a Cabbage Patch doll. And it has a suitcase handle for when hauling it around stage just becomes a little too difficult.
And all of these things are revealed at different times.
Yes.
Like he paces out the reveals. Like the cow is the smoke monster in this. Like every time we see it, we learn a new thing about it.
But it is funny every time you see a new feature of the cow.
Yeah.
In the way that, like, at the revival that was a couple of years ago, they had like a puppeteer and they made like a beautiful working cow. And they had like the puppeteer all in black. And it was like this actually kind of incredible, pretty big puppet being operated by, I think, one person.
Yeah, apparently he stole the show.
But it really did steal the show. And when it died, it was legitimately sad. Like the way the cow died was like everyone in the audience was like,
Milky White.
Whereas in this one, it's so funny when the cow dies.
Yeah.
Right.
But like it's just, I think you have to go all the way to one side of it. It's got to be either like the most beautifully wrought puppet in the world, or it's got to have a fucking suitcase handle, and anything in between would just kind of not work.
For the 2002 production, which was also done by James Lapine, Stephen Sondheim, Jonathan Tunick, all these people just reinterpreting their own work, they had Chad Kimball in a cow costume doing the best work Chad Kimball, I think, will ever do in his career.
That's not nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually what made him evangelical. He found God in the Milky White suit.
Yeah. The Milky White has become sort of a focal point for a lot of people because there are so many amateur productions of Into the Woods. There was even like a Tumblr that was just devoted to shitty high school Milky Whites. AJ, you had you had your own Chad Kimball.
We had our own Chad Kimball who really
cow.
stole the show. When we kissed at the end of It Takes Two, the cow put his hand over his head and went and like shook his head from side to side. Like it was very cute. The kid was really good.
The face of the cow just looked incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Our Milky White, when I was in high school, some dads just welded a bunch of pipes together. So it was just like the skeleton of a cow.
Milky pipe.
It's the German expressionist cow. And, it really is.
We put some casters on the bottom of it. And for the udders, they took a latex glove and just taped it onto the back rib. Yes. And that's what we had. It was great.
Magic beans.
No one would have given him more for this creature.
Are we to dispel this curse through deceit?
If you know what you want, then you go and you find it and you get it.
Home.
Do we want a child or not? And you give and you take and you bid and you bargain, or you live to regret it.
Will you please go home?
There are rights and wrongs and in-betweens. No one waits when fortune intervenes. And maybe they're really magic. Who knows?
At what point does something go from being like just a little white lie, there's a whole song about it, to being true dishonesty?
Yeah.
And then what are the long-term consequences of that dishonesty?
And she says, like why you do what you do, that's the point. All the rest of it is chatter. And that is her perspective on things. And you will always get characters who will plant themselves and say, this is my perspective at this moment. This is the moral of my story up until this point. And then that moral will change as time continues to pass. We see Rapunzel. The witch climbs her hair. And we see that there is this prince, Rapunzel's prince, who's going to go after her. So there's Cinderella's prince, there's Rapunzel's prince. Before the first chime of midnight, we actually close out the story of Little Red Riding Hood. We get to Granny's cabin, my grandmother, what big arms you have, what big eyes you have, what big nose you have, blah, blah, blah. And she gets eaten. James Lapine has fun with scrim here.
A lot of fun with scrim.
We get this cabin that appears painted onto a scrim. They light it from behind and then it's transparent. And we're having a great time. Good special effects.
They're really making a meal of the scrim.
Yeah. Granny pops back out, which you don't normally get.
Yeah. So we get to meet the grandmother and she just loves killing. She will pass those values on to her granddaughter after they skin this wolf alive.
Mother said straight ahead, not to delay or be misled. I should have heeded her advice, but he seemed so nice.
Little Red Riding Hood has the first song that is like, this is a moral song. I have learned my lesson from this story.
Do not put your faith in a the hood. They will not protect you the way that they should, and take extra care with strangers. Even flowers have their dangers, and though scary is exciting, nice is different than good.
That is what she's learned is the most important thing. Like, someone can be nice, but then they can have ulterior motives.
Right.
So then we find Cinderella fleeing the ball. She falls down because she is not used to running around in heels, because she spends most of her time as a wench, a stunted kitchen wench, as she's referred to by her stepmother. And she runs into the baker's wife. And the baker's wife is so thrilled to hear about the ball. Like, this life of being able to meet a prince is so far beyond anything that she could ever understand.
And Cinderella's like, the prince is kind of mid. Like, that's her takeaway.
Yeah, she later says wanting a ball is not wanting a prince. She just wanted to go to a ball, dress up in a gown and dance, and then all of a sudden she is the single focal point of attention for everybody in the kingdom.
This is if anything, Stephen Sondheim is the creator of many heteropessimist works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Company may be the ultimate heteropessimist work, I would
absolutely.
argue.
You can't say Company is the most heteropessimist work when passion exists.
That
one's just like, hey, do you know what love is? It's actually a disease.
Yeah, it's a disease, and you should rid yourself of it.
Kind of like Company, secret reading about gay culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will also say that Into the Woods is like all the ones he does with Lapine are incredibly personal musicals.
Yeah.
Like, it's an avenue for him to express himself in a way he just isn't able to with, I think, any other collaborator.
So first midnight comes, everybody's shouting the moral of their story. The baker's wife sees that Cinderella has golden shoes. She runs after her. The cow runs away. All this. There's a lot of like, the cow runs away. They get the cow back. The cow dies. The cow undies.
There's a lot of complications along the way.
Certainly. A lot of arbitrary moments because these are fairy tales,
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is very much just like fun. What's the thing that can happen to advance the plot? That is the nature of this entire
think
first
about
act.
it too much, and the way that you make this work is by making it go fast.
It's got to move.
What I wouldn't give to be in your shoes.
Will you look over there? An enormous beanstalk growing next to that little
I mean,
cottage.
slippers as pure as gold. I must get home. I need your shoes.
One midnight gone.
No knot unties itself.
Sometimes the things you most wish for are not to be touched.
The harder to get, the better to have.
Never wear mauve in a ball.
Or pink. Or open your mouth.
And then Jack interrupts everything by singing Giants in the Sky.
Into the woods, then out of the woods and home before.
There are giants in the sky. There are big, tall, terrible giants in the sky.
I love this song. It really is. And it's so short. The only time we had seen like Jack sing before was saying goodbye to Milky White, and it's unrhymed.
Yeah, he has a song that is so short you can't even fit a rhyme into it. It's just 4 lines.
And also Sondheim said he's so dim that he cannot rhyme. Yeah. But when he goes to the sky, he has this epiphany moment, and he comes down and he can rhyme.
Yeah.
And he can sing, and he sings this song.
He has something resembling a sexual awakening as well. He talks about the giant breast of the giant woman.
And she gives you food, and she gives you rest, and she draws you close to her giant breast, and you know things now that you never knew before.
Which is a reference to the thing Little Red Riding Hood just said.
Exactly.
And I know things now, many valuable things that I hadn't known before.
About isn't it nice to know a lot and a little bit not, which is clearly about having sex with the wolf.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like the swell of feeling in it when he's talking about being free up there. I just think is so incredible. And I think what's the name of the actor who does Jack here?
Ben Wright.
I love his voice so much.
It's just gorgeous. I don't think anyone has captured quite the tone that he has in this one.
No, I think that it's maybe not necessarily. I mean, I love this recording of this song, like their cast recording of this song. I really, really love particularly.
Yeah. In the revival, he's played by Adam Wiley.
Only just when you made a friend and all, and you know she's big, but you don't feel small. Someone bigger than her comes along the hall to swallow you for lunch.
Who has had a successful career as an actor since then, and very notably has been a recurring actor on Adventures in Odyssey for a lot of the recent years.
Oh,
so
no.
it always goes back to Odyssey.
How did Chan Kimball never voice a character on Odyssey? Anyway.
Not talented enough. So one thing about this is a line that's actually cut in the revival. But in the original Broadway production and all the amateur productions, Jack sings this line that has always just like, what does this mean?
When you're way up high and you're on your own in a world like none that you've ever known, where the sky is lead and the earth is stone.
What?
Yes.
The fuck does that mean?
Okay. I have my theory about this, which is that he is up so high in the sky that it has stopped being blue and has become blackish blue, which is the color of lead.
Sure, okay.
Like when you get to the upper fucking troposphere or whatever the fuck it's called.
So the giants live basically in space.
Yes,
is the idea.
Super Mario Galaxy.
I think that's what. Yeah.
Okay.
It's also that they are in the center of the earth. They're in Looney Tunes land.
Oh, okay.
Right? And they climb. The beanstalk goes into the center of the earth where the sky is literally lead and the earth beneath them is literally stone.
Okay.
It's the only thing that like
Wait, the
disproves
sky
it is that
is the center of, so this is a hollow earth.
Yes,
thing.
it is a hollow earth.
Okay.
It's Looney Tunes and Space Jam logic, right?
Okay.
And the only thing that disproves this theory is that Michael Jordan does not appear in this musical.
I see.
I think I think maybe in San Diego he did, but they cut that whole track out.
They brought that back for West End, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. There were two Michael Jordans.
They do the
actually.
big arm that stretches across the stage. So my theory on this lyric, because Sondheim rarely has like a weird poetic lyric. He's not that kind of lyricist, right?
No,
but every
he
once in a
steers
while,
away from Hammerstein as often as possible.
there's something that shows up in these musicals, like Bobby reminding that guy of the Seagram building. Or Why Watch Me Die Like Eliza on the Ice, when Eliza from Uncle Tom's Cabin does not die on the ice. She lives on the ice and then dies later. I think what this line is referencing is medieval roofs, and specifically this is a big thing with English roofs, being made out of lead.
Oh.
So it's like he's gone through the ceiling of Earth, but I think it's fine that it gets cut. I think it's fine that he cuts the line later on.
Sure.
Because it bothers me.
I think it's kind of beautiful in a mysterious way.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to be fooled. I need someone to tell me what's going on.
I refuse to be deceived.
See, this is I'm an eager consumer of magic, so
So Jack has the sack of gold that he brings back down from the giants. He gives it to the baker in exchange for the cow, and then immediately the sack of gold is stolen by the mysterious man who says, "Could you buy yourself a child?" And then he runs off. And you have to wonder, why is the mysterious man so invested in what's going on with the baker?
Interesting.
Why does this very short man have an interest in what this other very short man is doing?
Yeah. Why does he limp like he's got an injury from a baking accident?
Or perhaps scaling a wall.
Or perhaps his nuts were enchanted and it makes him walk funny.
Let me tell you about some enchanted nuts. You met this wolf guy?
Come on.
Then we get the two princes, Cinderella's prince and Rapunzel's prince. Cinderella's prince is chasing after Cinderella all the time, and he leaps everywhere, and he runs into Rapunzel's prince, and they're both like, "Hey, we got two ladies that we're going after."
High in her tower, she sits by the hour, maintaining her hair. Blithe and becoming, and frequently humming a light-hearted air. Agony, far more painful than yours, when you know she would go with you, if there only were doors.
This is the rare, actually funny Stephen Sondheim song.
Yes.
As we've talked about on the show quite a bit, he's generally not very good at jokes. He's just good at being clever. Whereas this has some truly funny punchlines.
And he does it twice. This song happens twice in the show.
It's reprised in the second act.
It's funny both times.
Yeah.
With two different sets of lyrics. And let me tell you, of all the difficult things in Into the Woods, I find this to be the most difficult. And having played the Prince myself, it is so easy, if you are not on your guard, to slip into the wrong lyric.
Oh, yeah.
and going back to the first. Yeah. It's so funny because there are minor differences between this and the reprise.
Yeah.
There's like a lot more chaos that happens in the reprise than there is in the original, but the original is so clean. Like it is a staple of Broadway reviews for a reason. It is one of the greatest male duets in musical
and it tells
theater.
the story. So you have the circumstances, they're already grounded in the lyrics of the song.
And it is a kind of a reference song too, right? Which is thing that Sondheim really doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, and the reference is part of what makes it funny, is like, especially in the second one, where it's like, oh, I know what fairy tale they're talking about. Oh, ho, 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 I'm on to you.
Yeah, it makes the audience build it in their mind, which I think is what makes it so funny in a way that, like, doing a passing reference to something modern, like Merrily, for example, you know, going back to Paramount doesn't get the same kind of laugh that Agony does because it's not as in the audience's head.
You know nothing of madness till you're climbing her hair and you see her up there as you're nearing her, all the while hearing her
I love this number so much. These two guys in particular are so good. I love the voice of Cinderella's Prince / the Wolf.
Robert Westenberg.
I will also say, in defense of, so if they were not, I know we're not talking about the movie.
This is really good.
If they were to make a movie of this in 2014,
what would it look like?
And say it was Chris Pine and Billy Magnuson as the princess.
Okay, sure.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It would actually be so good on film that I sometimes watch it.
Yep.
Wow.
I think it's legitimately very good in the film.
I don't know. Is Rob Marshall to direct it?
Yeah,
maybe not.
Chris Pine at one point goes. They're like having. It's like so much of more of a competition in the filmed version.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Where like Chris Pine goes down to one knee, so Billy Magnuson slides on both knees and rips his shirt open, and then Chris Pine looks up and rips his shirt open, and it's like I don't know. It's really funny. It's very.
And that's
good.
something that's fun about this number, and the reason that it is such a staple. You can direct it however the fuck you want.
Yeah.
It asks the question, what if not one Gaston, but two Gaston?
Yeah, exactly.
The baker's wife happens to overhear part of this scene, and she hears about a maiden with yellow hair in a tower, and she gets like exact directions over there too, as a really funny little line for Chuck Wagner. And she runs and goes and grabs that hair.
She really fucking rips
Yeah,
it.
it's good.
So
it's
fucking
good.
funny. The Bakers reunite. Cinderella shows up again, falls down again. Her family also runs through because the Baker is like running after every woman in the kingdom, holding an ear of corn and trying to compare their hair to it. Once they run into each other, they're like, oh, wait, you've got the cow, you've got the cape, and we've got the hair. All we need is that slipper, and we know where it is.
And once we're past, let's hope the changes last. Beyond woods, beyond witches and slippers and hoods, just the two of us beyond lies, safe at home with our beautiful prize. Just a few of us, it takes trust. It takes just a bit more and we're done. We want 4, we have none, we've got 3. We need 1, it takes 2.
They're very gymnastic lyrics once you like really listen to them, but they also just flow so easily. This is Sondheim just with so many years of experience behind him that it just happens like this.
Yeah, and you watch them fall in love.
Yeah.
Like, again, you know, whatever spark there was at the beginning of the relationship is coming back because they're finally meeting each other in the woods. The way the melody moves in here when they sing in unison, because they're not even harmonizing, they're finally together, right? They are in unison. And what happens is it springs up, it goes back, it goes forward, like it has this sort of momentum to it. It's like a car getting started for the first time, and then it's finally able to coast when they smooch at the end. And AJ gets his first French kiss when he's 14 years old. When the baker's wife shoves her tongue into my mouth,
tongue down your throat,
and I was like, my body went, I don't know what to do right now. And then the audience went, yeah! And I went, well, that better not have activated anything in me.
Hold on.
And that's how you became an exhibitionist.
She didn't let you know that it was, she just fucking did it? Just went
she just fucking did it,
Mamma mia.
So that's the lesson for you at home, folks. Just do that.
No! Then you'll play the wolf. Don't do this.
And you thought to yourself, this is how democracy dies. With thunderous applause.
In the darkness of my mouth.
That's so funny because that is so not a tongue kiss moment, right? This is like a little innocent
really
kiss.
is
like
not.
it's such
This is a nice, like, sweet kiss
like
moment.
the two of you just start gassing each other up right at the end of that song, and then the cow dies. Yeah,
and then the cow dies.
And I heard like over the applause, I somehow heard my mom go, Jeez.
Well, what's really great is all your mom's friends then, through your leggings, get to see that boner they were so excited about.
That's right. That's right.
The giant, the titular giant.
Because I can't imagine you're wearing like big baggy pants as the baker. It's probably like some leggings and like a...
There was room to tuck. So,
brother.
You were tucked?
So this is now the end of the second night. The cow has died. The baker and his wife are, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step.
Because opposites attract.
And we get this little song, Second Midnight. It's very jazzy. It's all spoken. It's just everyone doing like little tiny morals. And then we move on. It's about 20 seconds long. Great song. However, this is the one cut song that I think was good from the show. It needed to get cut. First act has to get shortened somehow. When they cut it, Tom Aldridge made T-shirts for everyone that said 2 Midnights Gone. But this song, this full version of Second Midnight, was something that they wrote, got put in place in rehearsals in New York, lengthened it a little bit, and put it in the first preview. And somewhere in the preview process, they realized we have to cut it. This song has all of these elements where the characters are coming on and singing about being parents.
I don't understand it. Every other child reflects its mother. I don't understand it. Can't I have a child like every other? What did I do wrong?
Mothers ought to trust you. Mothers ought to just leave you on your own.
What did I do wrong?
This idea of like, how do we pass on our values to our children?
What exactly was to be called? Watch out for the wolves. I will. Don't be foolish, be frightened. I will be sure of what you want. I promise. Don't worry, I love you. The more you protect them, the more they reject you. The more you reflect them, the more they respect you. You never can know them. Good night. It will all be alright.
Beautiful song. Needed to go.
It just doesn't fit the tempo of where the show is going because of how it
was
needs to
too
move.
much. Yeah, it was so much. Like the audience was just like, we got to get to the end of this.
But there are
like, we gotta
so
keep the
many
momentum up.
motifs that go in here. A couple of the motifs are gone, are totally axed. But a couple of the others, they realize are exactly what Act 2 needs.
Maybe we just weren't meant to have children.
Don't say that, of course we were meant to have children.
What do I know about being a father? I hardly was ever a son.
I want a child.
I want a child.
Look, you're a good person and I'm a good person. You'll be a good father. We'll know what to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they felt like maybe we need to set it up. But no, the stories themselves set up the idea.
I think it's so much better that it hits you like a truck in the second act starts and already the music is wrong. Like we'll talk about it when we get there, but it's like there's something about it. Like immediately you're like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And it's so much better that it comes all at once like that.
It's the benefit of doing a process, right? This is part of the process. They had to find the heart of this piece, but they realized they don't actually have to hint at it for the audience. They can just bring it to them when it's time.
Like a fairy tale would.
Yeah, in Pacific Overture, Sondheim wrote this song, Prayers. Prayers is this great song. You can hear him playing the demo of it, and it's got all these people singing about spiders and all this other stuff.
Show me a sign.
Every part of that song ended up everywhere else in the score. The song itself is gone, but it shows up in the Shogun scene. It ends up being the heart of the piece. And so it was only once they got to New York, they found the song that was going to be the heart of the piece. They just had to break it up and scatter it to the wind.
Like 5 beans.
6 beans.
So we're going to get through the plot of the rest of this first act, and then we're going to talk about that very, very meaningful second act after.
Well, yes.
In the what?
Yes.
AJ,
yes,
what?
Yes.
I had
but
this
you
thing.
see,
What's
but
going
here's
on?
the thing. No. See, here's the thing is that we haven't done a musical episode in a really long time.
No, we
so
haven't.
I just feel like before we go into this break, we should probably give a little bit of context.
There's a certain doctor from Long Island.
So there's
an oral surgeon.
So longtime listeners of the podcast, musical episodes will know that there is a certain doctor from Long Island, Dr. Samuel Bolch, GDS.
Yes, oral surgeon.
An oral surgeon and dentist who spent a lot of his time.
Yes, of course he's
when he's sort of off duty from being his dentist.
Off duty? Yeah, when he's not on patrol.
When he's out on patrol being a dentist. He used to rewrite.
He's with the NYPD dental unit, which they probably do actually have.
You can't salute with the plaque thing. It'll go right into your head.
Dental crimes are considered particularly heinous. Yes.
His office is right next to the NYPD beekeepers. Yeah.
So, yes. And very good. Because.
Oh, no.
It does have to do
Mission
with bees. Because you see, one of the long-term things that Dr. Samuel Bolch DDS is mostly known for.
Yes, may his memory be a blessing.
May his memory be a blessing.
Yeah.
Despite rewriting some lyrics to songs that you may know and doctoring some for Broadway shows and for the two Boss Baby films.
Right.
He also collaborated with Stephen Sondheim on Sondheim's longest gestating musical.
What's the Buzz?
What's the Buzz?
It's about bees, yeah.
It's about bees and the things that bees do.
Right.
And coincidentally, despite having been made before and after the production of Bee Movie, happens to share its exact same plot.
Fantastic.
So this is no exception. We here at the archives of Dr. Samuel Bolch DDS.
Oh my God.
This is the sweatiest setup I have ever heard.
Sorry, what's the Buzz?
So,
like the song
this episode is going to be 4 hours long.
Yes, it is. But Andrew Lloyd Webber stole that, and we'll get to that in a future episode. But for now, yes,
please, God.
I have to get a glass of water so bad.
That he wrote Into the Woods is no exception.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yes. He wrote a song for it, and I'm going to be honest with you all. It doesn't really make any sense. I listened to it, and it's written in the original B dialect, so it's really hard to understand.
Okay. It's written in what?
It's a dance piece. It's a dance piece.
And so, unfortunately, we will not be revealing that here. We at the archive did not feel like it met the standard. So instead,
this is a song we're not showing.
So instead,
you cunt.
So instead,
yes. What instead?
What do you got?
AJ Diddy, decided that I, for the first time since I was 14 years old, would rewrite the lyrics to Giants in the Sky.
Oh my God.
As a tribute to my 14-year-old self.
Great. Shove it up your ass.
Hopefully, this will save 14-year-old me a lot of time.
Okay.
Enjoy.
There's a chance you might be by. There's a not improbable chance you might be by. When you're really shy, but you're just a bro doing theater plays that will help you grow. Little more than a glance is enough to show them just how straight you are. When you're really shy, but you're horned as hell, and the baker's wife makes you feel swell, and the witch has cast her spell as well. You'd love to French on their forbidden trench, exploring things you've always sought, but then that thought gets suddenly fraught. The prince, the witch, and the baker in your bed. The prince, the witch, and the horny baker giving you head. 'Cause they got those butts and they've got those breasts, and they let you spoon in their well-toned chests, and you think things now that you never thought before. Maybe you're bi. Only no, you think that can't be right. It's girls that make my heart take flight, but the prince strolls in those naughty tights that make your cargoes bunch. And your heart is air and your dick is stone. You've never been more down to bone. And it's then that you reap all the seed you've sown as you let out a sigh and a breathy moan. The fun's begun. You steal some tissues and run, and you make it home and you look below as the dick you know begins to grow. The chair, the sock, and the lotion lock the door. The chair, the sock, and the thoughts you never thought to explore. And you think of all of the men you've seen, and you know that you're somewhere in between, and you're soft again, only different than before. Probably bi. There's a chance you might be bi. There's a not improbable, awesome, veiny, fabulous chance that you are bi.
So, dawn of the third day, 24 hours remain.
Dong dong.
The witch has found out that Rapunzel is banging a prince.
That's right.
Oh. So we see her dragging Rapunzel out on stage, out of the tower. She cuts her hair.
Why could you not obey? Children
should listen. What have I been to you? What would you have me be? Handsome like a prince. Ah, but I am old, I am ugly, I embarrass you. You are ashamed of me. You are
Sondheim really is able, and Lapine too, because these always start as like a monologue that Lapine writes first. But like Sondheim is really able to get into the character of the witch, because this is one of the most beautiful songs in the score. And what she's saying is fucking batshit. But this is how this relationship works.
It also helps that he already has some experience with musicals about overbearing mothers.
That's true.
He also has some experience with an overbearing mother.
Yeah.
The witch is basically his relationship to his mother. Like, it's him working through his relationship with his mother.
Really quite similar, yeah.
One of the most famous things that Sondheim ever said was he was gifted a silver platter as an open night gift for West Side Story. And he said, "You forgot my mother's head." Like,
I never heard that one.
So much unresolved shit in this relationship. Yeah. And again, Brian, to your point, it's one of the most beautiful songs in the score because he can't quite reconcile his feelings about her, and that's what makes it so beautiful, and what makes The Witch more than just a cameo that so many critics throw at that role.
I mean, Mattie, you were mentioning the Sondheim auction. You mentioned the board game that Stephen Sondheim made that was being auctioned off. I think they actually pulled it and it didn't get auctioned off that day.
Oh, really?
But it's such a fascinating artifact, and one of the things that they mention is that Foxy Sondheim, his mother, worked on some of the design of this board. And the listing in the catalog for the auction also mentions a quote from him where he just says, yes, she helped with designing the physical look of the board and nothing else. Like, really had to drive home. She was not involved.
Mamma mia.
Different show.
Here
we go again.
There's actually a famous story that you can hear in Sondheim on Sondheim. And I think Lapine even put it into the documentary 6 by Sondheim, where he pairs it with this song that the witch is singing, one of the variations of it, in Into the Woods, where his mother was going in. He was like in his 40s. This is like the 70s.
And so she wrote me a letter and had it hand delivered the night before she went into the hospital. And she's opening sentence was, before I undergo open heart surgery, which she had underlined 3 times, I just wanted to tell you that I have only one regret in my life, which is giving you birth. And then she went on. And when I got this note, I was stunned first, and then I thought, oh my God. I'd always thought all those years that, like so many parent-child relationships, it was misplaced or misguided love. And it was all, about my father, and she didn't know where to place her feeling about it. Then I realized she never wanted me on Earth. I was an inconvenience.
This is like archetypal weird mother stuff.
When his parents divorced, his mother gave him the sense that his father didn't want him around. So he lived with her for a long time.
To control him, basically, yeah.
It's a Rapunzel situation, right?
Look at that complexion, still untouched by the sun. Children need protection just the way they need affection, or they wonder and they wander and they run from your little world. Our little world is all I have to see. Perfect.
But he lived next door to Oscar Hammerstein's family, and the Hammersteins basically took him in. And Oscar died before Sondheim ever had a score of his on Broadway, but he was still very, very close with Oscar Hammerstein's wife, to the point where, he was inconsolable after her death, but he was getting interviewed a year after his own mother died, and the interviewer was talking about whatever about his life, and then they're like, oh, and your mother? And he says, yeah, she's fine. And had to catch himself and was like, oh, no, wait, no, she died. Because at that point, he had just completely cut contact with her.
She's fine, as in she's around and kicking and
she's around.
No, he just said, yeah, she's fine. A year after she had passed away, because he was and that's how he needed to be in order to continue living, basically.
I think that this number does a phenomenal job of showing the situation from the witch's perspective. It somehow makes you empathize with her, despite the fact that what she's been doing is completely cracked.
Yeah, she has locked this little girl inside of a tower her entire life. She doesn't know any other people. And now she feels betrayed that now Rapunzel knows another person.
What did I clearly say? Children should listen. No, please. What were you not to do? Children must see and learn.
This theme is a central theme of the show, though. It continues on after this song until the finale. We have this little scene with Little Red Riding Hood and Jack. Jack has gotten the goose. He's gotten the sack of gold. He hasn't gotten the heart, but he knows it exists. Little Red Riding Hood is walking around wearing a wolf pelt.
Pretty great.
It's so funny.
It's pretty cool. And this is accurate to the Grimm story because in the Grimm story, after the events of Little Red Riding Hood, she goes back out into the woods and kills a second wolf.
It is accurate to a version of the Grimm story. This is really interesting. The very first time they published it, the story shows that Little Red Riding Hood has learned her lesson by having her go back out to her granny's, and a wolf is like, "Hey, little girl, I'm going to be a molester," and she stabs him. And he dies.
Well,
this was kind of offensive to 19th century Western European sensibilities at the time.
They love that wolf dick.
And so later editions, the Grimms actually removed that final passage.
Okay.
But for a while she was in here. There was a point where the three little pigs were in this musical. So she like saves the three little pigs from that second wolf. But either way, she has a knife still in this version of the show. And she's gotten a taste of killing. And she likes it.
She really does. I love how fucked up and weird every single character in this play is.
But this is also the moment where we get the two child characters getting to be kids with each other and doing like a nuh-uh, thing. And she dares Jack to go back up the beanstalk the third time. And of course, we all know what happens the third time Jack goes up the beanstalk. That's when all the shit goes down.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets that righteous harp.
Fee, fi, fo, and even fum.
Well, I thought Fum got canceled because of all the allegations.
After this scene, they run off and it's like, okay, we know what Jack's about to do. That story's going to conclude. And we get Cinderella once again walking with kind of a pronounced limp because she's lost one of her shoes.
He's a very smart prince. He's a prince who prepares, knowing this time I'd run from him. He spread pitch on the stairs. I was caught unawares, and I thought, well, he cares. This is more than just malice. Better stop and take stock while you're standing here stuck on the steps of the palace.
Some of the best lyrics that Sondheim ever wrote in his entire life.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's at stake because you've stalled long enough because you're still standing stuck in the stuff on the steps.
It's so good. And it's also showing that like Cinderella's mind is moving so fast, like it's moving into Amy territory from Company almost, right? But it's not a frantic song. It's just that it shows that there's more going on in her head that than you might even know. And the reason why is because it took Sondheim so long to figure out how the fuck to do this
the
song.
first version of this song is so awful.
Back to the palace to find out what you're feeling, and again he is there, and you dance and they stare. Is it envy or malice or content they're concealing? And again there's the glare, and you run unaware that he's played you a trick, smearing pitch so you'll stick to the ground.
And it's because he wasn't tying it to a character choice. He was just describing the events that happen on the steps of the palace.
And then he realized this is a woman who is unused to making decisions. Her entire life has been dictated for her.
Although how can you know who you are till you know what you want, which you don't? So then which do you pick? Where you're safe out of sight and yourself, but where everything's wrong? Or where everything's right and you know that you'll never be long? And whichever you pick, do it quick, cause you're starting to stick to the steps of the...
She needs to make a decision to have a better life, but that's terrifying. She has just stepped onto another planet, basically, and is like, I guess I could continue down this path and accept whatever consequences that entails, or I could go home where at least I understand things, no matter how horrible they are.
The musical phrasing with the lyrics too is so good, I think. It's just, I don't know, what a fucking, it's like such a quiet, weird little song.
It's just elegant.
I also cannot tell you how this song is butchered in Into the Woods Jr. because they cut that like it's basically the first stanza, the chorus, and then it's over.
Okay.
Like it feels like an audition cut of this song.
Okay.
And you don't even get the A part
Are
right.
you sure that's the junior version or just when you did it, AJ?
No, that is actually the junior version. That is in fact.
I don't think they should have let you sing it during the production.
That's true. That is true. I mean, I did look good in those shoes. I just want to be very clear.
Don't even get me started on how you looked in the goo.
My ass looked great.
So we get
my 14-year-old.
Stop it.
We've been talking
It's mine.
so much.
I can objectify myself.
No, you can't.
You sound like your mom's friends.
Not 14-year-old you. That's fucked up.
You're a pedophile against yourself.
That's right.
Against myself.
This is downright lupine. Get the big, fit him for the big plastic dick, boys.
Bring him the wolf suit.
So
you have to wear it.
So now it's the third midnight. We have the obligatory farcical section where everything is coming together. We have this steward who's this very fussy, gay attendant to the prince who's got the big fuck off mustache and the not nobody, not know how hat.
Yes.
And also the not nobody, not nobody, not no one fucking curly cues.
Yeah.
Like
that hair is so good.
We hear the beanstalk crash off stage. Every time something crashes or makes a big boom, they always have leaves falling from the flies.
Oh, it's
brilliant
so cool.
effect. There's this whole other thing with another cow. Don't worry about it. The cow comes back to life.
Yeah, it's fake out.
The witch comes on with this huge hood up. I wonder why. That big, rigid
my wig in.
hood. Jack has his harp now. In the Regent's Park production, they just made the harp a sexy lady dressed in very tight-fitting, like gold lame. Again, sexual awakening is a metaphor in fairy tales, all that stuff. All these ingredients that the witch, the hair, the shoe, the everything. They have to feed it to the cow. Which gives the cow terrible indigestion, we find out. They milk the cow. There are some complications there. They resolve the complications. They get the potion out of the cow. By the way, the mysterious man, turns out it's the baker's father. He didn't die in a baking accident, but he did die right now. He's dying. He's dead. And also, the witch has transformed. In the 3 seconds that you were looking away at the dying old man, the witch has become Bernadette Peters in a boob dress. And
oh my God, this dress!
Oh my God, those boobs. I mean, good Lord.
There's a reason we have to do a different dress for Act 2, but we're riding this dress all the way out. This scene is really interesting when you watch it and you're like, how the fuck did they do that? It's because they are lying to you. James Lapine is a deceiver.
He is the princess.
I do not like to be deceived.
As I mentioned before, the makeup is more elaborate for the taping, but also they do close-ups of the witch.
Right.
Instead of doing a quick change, which is of course what we did in high school, my sister had to my sister was the witch, by the way. She had to rip off the little Halloween mask and turn her cloak inside out, and then it was red and it was cool.
Yeah.
Still took a long time to do relative to what they do here. What they do here is they have a double step on in the middle of this scene.
Oh, okay.
It's not Bernadette Peters. Nor is Bernadette Peters speaking live either. All of her lines are taped. And so they're rolling the tape. It's tape.
Yeah, it is tape.
So they're rolling the tape while, the girl who's going to play Snow White at the end of the musical is dressed as the witch with a little bit of prosthetics on her face. And then she drinks the potion, disappears in a cloud of smoke, falls down a trap door. Well, it doesn't fall down, lowers down. And Bernadette
pops up. Yeah. Very clever.
You know what they call this? Long change.
Yeah, she actually has a long change.
Very leisurely.
A slow change.
You switch people out. It's the same thing for the wolf in the cabin. You'll have a lot of trouble if you're having the same actor play the wolf in Cinderella's Prince because the wolf in the cabin is also a double. And they just have Westenberg off stage saying
Next, you're going to tell me that none of this actually happened.
Oh, my God.
There is no musical here. We're making it up.
No, there are no
just
bakers.
Like AJ's B dialect lyrics. Fucking shit.
Which didn't exist, turns out.
No. We didn't hear those.
Yeah.
Actually. And we never will.
What a shame.
I hate you so much, Anthony James Diddy. Of course, we have to wrap up Cinderella. The German version of the story has a lot of foot torture going on. What, did Hans Christian Andersen write this?
Let's go.
Hey-oh. The stepsisters decide to mutilate their feet to try to fit in the golden slipper.
Very fun use here of props.
Incredible. Really gruesome. A lot of blood.
Pouring the blood out of the shoe is very funny.
Yeah, it's just gruesome enough to be fun, but not so gruesome as to sort of break the tone of the moment.
Yeah. It's still done in that very light style. And they establish, too, that Cinderella's prince is a real loser when it comes to blood. He can't stand the sight of it at all.
Yeah.
Then the stepsisters are also blinded in the Grimm version. They've just got a lot of shit going on.
The birds come down and peck out their eyes.
They come back on with sunglasses. They kind of look like everybody in the Emerald City in Wicked.
That's true.
I was greedy, I was vain, I was haughty, I was smug, we were happy, it was fun, but we were blind, then we went to the woods to get our wish and now we're really blind.
Speaking of blindness, Rapunzel's prince had been thrown from the tower by the witch who was disguising herself as Rapunzel, and he fell into thorns, and then he got blind, and Rapunzel was out in the wilderness, and then she gave birth to twins. They're the prince's twins because they plowed. And so she finds her way back. She finds the prince, and then she cries him back to sight.
Very fun little staging bit of like, boop, boop, blah, blah, you know.
Just done very fast. Again, it's still sincere, though. It's not a fractured fairy tale. It doesn't go into anachronism or anything like that, but it has fun with it.
But it's very like, and he gets blind, she cries him back. Like it's very
we know this story.
Fairy tale,
pure
right?
tears, all that stuff. Though the witch comes on and she's like, come back with me. And Rapunzel's like, I don't know who you are because you look like Bernadette Peters and not like an old hag.
I'm sorry, I was very distracted by the breasts. What were you
saying? You're my what?
To what?
And so the witch tries to curse her, and then it doesn't work because she became beautiful but lost all of her powers in the process. Classic situation. And then we get a song.
And it came to pass, all that seemed wrong was now right, and those who deserved to were certain to live a long and happy life. Ever after, journey over, all is mended, and it's not just for today, but tomorrow and extended ever after. All the curses have been ended, the reverses wiped away, all is tenderness and laughter for forever.
This is one of the greatest little bits of dramaturgy in Into the Woods, which is that the narrator gets to sing, and it's for the end of Act 1. Then right at the very end of the song, the narrator says, to be continued. And a big beanstalk flies up into the sky because earlier, I didn't mention this, but earlier, the baker's wife tried to trade that sixth bean for Cinderella's shoe.
And Cinderella just took it and she just chucked it in there.
And she's like, this is nonsense. And she threw it. And that ends up causing everything that happens in Act 2.
I hate when that happens to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
when I do something sort of casually and I realize that it's an act break coming up, and then the blackout happens, and then the lights come back up, and there's been consequences for my actions, and I just hate. I just want to say what that happens. I hate when
me reaping, me sowing, etc.
Yeah, it literally
beans. Yeah,
she forgot to reap, I guess. So now we have this funny situation where Sondheim shows always have walkouts because they're a little difficult. You know, he writes difficult subjects. And so people are like, this is not. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that bobby booby. Yeah,
bobby booby.
I was expecting some singing and dancing. I wasn't expecting to think.
I was expecting song and dance in that order.
So is everybody just like, well, show's over?
Well, yes. Yeah. So this is the weirdest.
Initially.
So this is the weirdest thing because Sondheim is like, this is the first time I had walkouts for a show that people liked.
Yeah,
because they were like, that was great, and I guess it's over. Yay! They just sang a whole song for 5 minutes. They're like, this is the end of the show. Everything's over. And then he says to be continued, but who the fuck knows what that means? I'm going home.
And so that would happen until the reviews started coming out and saying you should stay for Act 2, and people were like, what do you mean?
It was to the point where like Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine were in the lobby being like, it's not over yet. If you're going out for a smoke, that's fine, but don't get in your car and drive home.
I have to beat that famous San Diego traffic.
Yeah. And I think the key to this, right, is that to be continued has to be direct and specific enough that you know that the continuation is going to be a real thing with real consequences. But that's hard to do because it doesn't really...
It's not written that way.
It's not written that way in the music.
So it closes out, and of course, if you're doing Into the Woods Jr., that is the end of the show, and you just don't say to be continued.
Or you say to be continued, and you're like a huge dick about it. It's just like...
So Act 2 is a surprise in many ways. It's like, well, what could you do?
And it's like Sunday in the Park with George, right? Sunday in the Park with George has these two very distinct stories, but they rely on each other. Yes. And with Into the Woods is a very plotted show. So this is like the sequel. if you ever were to make a movie of Into the Woods, you'd have to make it into probably 2 movies if you wanted to do it
Who would
justice.
do something like that?
You're talking about Into the Woods and Into the Woods.
Oh, yes!
Well, that's the thing. Is like now because of Wicked has finally like broken the seal on this whole concept of doing a musical as 2 movies. They could have done Into the Woods Happily Ever After.
Wicked though is not gonna. It's gonna be the worst proof of concept because
it's gonna be so fucking weird.
It's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be bizarre.
No songs. Like I would say almost every musical, the second act is weaker than the first, almost always. Just song wise, you'll get your 11 o'clock number, but that's about it. This one is, I guess it's because it's almost like front to back bangers in this one, but like the second act is some of the best songs in it, which is very unusual.
The second act of this show is what makes the show, and it is a fundamentally better act in every regard than Act 1, but that's also the point.
Yes.
It is structured that way intentionally.
People are going to see Wicked Part 2, and they're all going to be like, where's the songs that I like and know? And they're like, oh, no, we saw those.
Oh my God, if they do Hamilton as 2 movies, I'm going to shit myself. I'm going to be so mad. I'm just going to stand there and shit.
They're going to do a whole MCU of just characters from Hamilton. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
We're going to see George Washington beginnings.
You can do that. You could just repackage 1776 and Ben Franklin in Paris as being part of the Lin-Manuel extended universe.
Stop talking about this, or it is going to come to pass, and I
want it to happen. I want some bad things to happen, just like I want Eric Adams to be mayor forever. So
Ronnie got some bad news about that. Some real bad news.
I just received a video texted to me of his resignation. No, he's not resigning, but his little video, and it's him walking down the stairs of Gracie Mansion holding a giant frame portrait of his own mother. And and I've been watching it on mute this whole time. But I can't watch it until we're done recording, and I'm just staring at it.
So we begin Act 2 with an alteration of the opening theme. Once upon a time.
Later.
I wish.
In that same far-off kingdom.
More than anything.
Lived the young princess, the lad Jack.
More than football.
I wish.
And the baker with his family.
No, I miss.
I wish.
More than anything.
More than the moon. There. I wish to sponsor a festival. More than life.
Somewhere around a year has passed, right? There's a baby. They got a baby, and their wishes are different now, right? Cinderella's bored. Jack is also bored. The baker and his wife are like, what the fuck? Babies are
They're
much.
So hard
There's so much to deal with.
Too much work for baby.
I wanted to point up here the really clever shorthand of the production design, where both Cinderella and Jack and his mother are wearing these very beautiful, lavish costumes that contrast sharply with what they were wearing before, whereas the Bakers are wearing the exact same costumes as Act 1.
Yeah, shout out to Ann Hold Ward, who also did the costumes for Sunday in the Park with George.
Nailed it. And later Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, shit.
Yes. And that's why the Beast has a dick.
Because of the allegations.
That's right.
I also want to say, as a fiction writer, the absolute death of writing a character is like someone announcing that they are bored. Like you just should not be allowed to do it. Yeah. And the fact that they managed to make it work with 2 characters at once.
Yeah. Well, it's because the action breaks in so immediately, right? This is not an 11-minute prologue that we got from Act 1. It's like 3 minutes, and then all hell breaks
And
loose.
what is it about? I was trying to put my finger on, I got to go listen to it 25 more times, but I was trying to put my finger on what about this opening theme, like March, sounds so sinister. But it's something about it sounds wrong.
So this song goes into this little piece that he wrote, So Happy. We hear a little snippet of it right when Cinderella gets married. This is a song that reflects a sort of contented boredom.
Wishes may bring problems such that you regret them. Better that though than to never get them. I'm going to be a perfect mom. I'm going to be the perfect son. I'm going to be a perfect mom. I'm going to be a perfect father. I'm going to see that she is so happy.
Everyone's kind of they're convincing themselves that they're happy with what's going on, but they're not feeling 100%. And this song is maybe the hardest in the score. The timing on this, the ways that you have to come in It's not a super strange time signature, but it is 6/4, which is a little weird.
I mean, it's not usual.
This has these weird little gaps in it, and if you miss it, you fuck the whole thing up. And I have fucked it up so many times.
Yeah, the jack in my production also really fucked it up. And
maybe
so
it's
I missed
hardest
my
for the
cue.
jacks, or maybe the jacks are just always the dumbest kids in the
No,
cast.
I don't know. It is an incredibly difficult song.
Yeah.
And I will say that all these characters wanting something after they've gotten all their wishes, you better believe that at the youth theater that I went to that was very Catholic influenced, that the moral that I was supposed to take away from this is that wanting things is wrong.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, because wanting once is once too much.
Did you come up with that just now?
That's from Urinetown.
A show I saw in its original run, and I bought a "Don't Be the Bunny" shirt that I wore all the time in high school because I was a dork. Not like now. When I'm
That's
cool.
all right. You're in good company, except for AJ, who to hear him tell it was very cool in high school.
Yeah,
I was not. No, I was. It doesn't matter. So
AJ was not cool. He just got super laid all the time.
He was getting so much pussy
on
dude.
stage. I heard. I just gotta say, I was I was like, now all these things are getting revived now, but I also saw the original cast of Bat Boy.
Oh wow!
Which
that's a feather in your cap.
It was like 3 weeks after 9/11, and the cast came out and was crying and was like, "Thank you for coming," because the theater was like a quarter full.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was there.
That was the other thing that kind of hurt the Into the Woods revival, because that opened in 2002, and it was still that whole like no one wants to go to Broadway anymore because they're gonna get terrorized.
I can't go in. What if Osama?
What if he targets Urinetown next?
Osama bin Laden being like, so we've taken out the World Trade Center. The next thing, the Majestic Theater.
Richard Rogers.
The Richard Rogers.
Well, the CIA, they did release all the books and the documents that bin Laden had, and one of them was a People's History of the United States, and another one was the full libretto for Into the Woods. Yeah.
Okay.
The song "So Happy" gets interrupted by crashes and we see the baker's house just completely fall apart. All the shelves fall off and the pots and pans are rolling everywhere.
Very cool effect.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Yeah.
Turns out there might be a giant.
Uh-oh.
Another giant in the land.
So a giant has now come down
from the sky. Little Red Riding Hood's house has been crushed. Her mother is probably dead. And Cinderella gets a message from her birds.
Yes.
They're like, hey, your mother's tree has been destroyed. And she has a whole conversation with them about, no, I can't go into the woods. You're right. I'll disguise myself.
And again, this is so efficient and so silly, but the apocalypse is happening. So you're locked in a way because you're used to the birds right by this point. They're not silly anymore. They're just a part of the world. And so I'm amazed. Like, if you watch this out of context, if you just watch this first scene out of context, there's so much weird and very silly shit happening. But because the music is so sinister and you're so used to it at this point, I'm on the edge of my fucking seat. Like, what the fuck is going to happen?
The birds are going to end up doing quite a bit of heavy lifting throughout the entire second act.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this next plot element is that the giant is nearsighted. And we see that depicted in this production by Jack picking up a gigantic broken pair of spectacles.
Phenomenal. Half a pair of glasses.
Every time there's a giant in something and you want to hit me with one really gigantic normal object, it's every time I'm locked the fuck in.
Yeah, especially because we don't ever see the full giant, right?
No.
We see parts of her over the course of it.
Yeah.
But the spectacles like sell how tall she is.
Into the woods, the path is straight, no reason then to hesitate.
Into the woods, it's not so late, it's just another journey. Into the woods, but not too long, the skies are strange, the winds are strong. Into the woods to see what's wrong.
Into the woods to slay the giant.
And then Rapunzel just runs on stage and screams a whole bunch until everyone leaves.
Yeah, because she's having a bad time.
She's having a really bad time. Turns out being raised in a tower and then banished to the wilderness while you're pregnant doesn't make you healthy.
No, and giving birth out there by yourself to twins.
Yeah.
But hey, at least Rapunzel's Prince Charming is a stand-up guy who's looking after her every need.
No,
right?
I have such bad news, John.
Oh, what?
No. So yeah,
what happened?
well,
He's kind of a wolf penis wearing guy.
Oh no!
Yeah,
there's
he's
some
kind of also a wolf dick. Yeah, so Rapunzel has her confrontation with her mother and says, "Because of you, I will never ever be happy," and then starts screaming again and runs off.
Fair enough.
And the witch says, "I was just trying to be a good mother," which is the most Sondheim thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I know it's Lapine,
It is,
I know,
yeah,
but also,
It's Lapone.
come on.
It's Patty Lupone wrote
Patty
that line.
Lapone wrote that.
That's right.
About herself.
So we see, as Josh mentioned, Rapunzel's prince again and Cinderella's prince. They're both kind of out on the town or on the woods, into the woods. That's what the musical's called.
They're on the woods, yes.
Onto the woods.
Well, they're trying to get onto something here because
I'll say
they both start singing their own songs. And Cinderella's prince is like, oh, yeah, actually, I've met a maiden in a tower. A much taller tower.
All round the tower, a thicket of briar, 100 feet deep. I found a casket entirely of glass. No, it's unbreakable. Inside, don't ask it, a maiden, alas, just as unwakeable, what unmistakable.
the reason this works so well comedically is that, first of all, this is reprising the exact same melody as Agony in the first act.
The only thing that's different musically is the bridge. The whole thing is the same structure and everything. Yeah.
But secondly, this is structured kind of like a sketch where the game of it is sort of like how this ties into other fairy tales, and then the fact that they have this rivalry with each other, and the game of it for the audience is figuring out which princesses they're talking about, which of course are Sleeping Beauty and Snow White.
There's a lot of sleepy ladies in folklore, huh?
Yeah. Ladies be sleeping.
I can confirm. Not right now, obviously, because it's
right. No, you're awake right
on
now.
the show, but later I'll be asleep.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know about what. Sometime between now and tomorrow, I will have been sleeping.
Okay.
And Mattie, I am so happy for you.
Fairy tales got that insanely correct.
So this is an even funnier version of the Act 1 song.
Yeah.
Right? And it plays also into the various neuroses that we learn about the princes over the course of this, which is that Cinderella's prince, faints at the sight of blood. Rapunzel's prince.
She has skin white as snow. Did you learn her name? No, there's a dwarf standing guard.
He also objects to the J.R.R. Tolkien pluralization of dwarf.
Yes.
Like he saw Sneezy and ran.
Yeah.
To be fair, have you seen the most recent Snow White?
I would have run too.
Nightmare
photorealistic
creatures. There's a point where Sondheim talks about this song, and he thinks that the big pop, the big laugh of this song is going to happen on the correction of dwarfs to dwarves to dwarfs.
Yes, but even when prick hits my thing about blood, well, it's sick, it's no sicker than your thing with dwarves. Dwarfs are very upsetting.
Of course he thought that would be the funniest
His
thing.
idea of a good time is doing a crossword puzzle.
Right.
And it's like, at best, it's like
Yeah, if you look at, again, Welcome to Kanagawa, a great song, you're having a fun time when you hear it. It's supposed to be a joke song, and you're not laughing at any point.
Not a single
Anne
point.
Harada got a couple laughs out of us when we saw her at CSC.
Well, this is Anne Harada. She can get a laugh out of anything.
It's fabulous.
Weirdly, Chrysanthemum Tea gets
Chrysanthemum
more pops
Tea
in that
does,
show.
yeah, because it's character-based.
When they don't cut it.
Because he understands he's not writing a joke. He's writing something very... He writes a Jewish mother, basically, into that scene. That's enough about Pacific Overtures.
We'll get there.
So now we find ourselves getting to... I just call this the big scene. Like almost every character is on stage except for Jack. It's very funny. When you're Jack, you just get a nice long break here. Everyone comes to a clearing. We start with the bakers in Little Red. They've been trying to follow the path from Act 1 and the path is gone. The royals show up. The witch shows up. Jack's mother is there. And then we get the big fucking bass drum hits.
haven't seen him. I want the lad.
Right, and this is a big voiceover, and Hillary Rodham Clinton's voice is now heard.
Booms out over the audience.
We are referencing a real thing that happened. Hillary Clinton has played the giant in Into the Woods. Here it's Merle Louise, who played the grandmother and Cinderella's mother. That just makes sense. You've got a lady in the wings, you might as well use her. I think starting in 2000, I think it was the 2002 revival that got Judi Dench to record these lines.
They did.
And
then they stunt cast it ever since.
Judi Dench gets reused. She's also in the Regent's Park and Central Park productions, and you got to retire Judi Dench, but also don't use the fucking Hillary Clinton lines, please. Just get an actor.
I mean, I will say, again, having not actually seen Into the Woods, but knowing about some of the lore of the show and about the Hillary Clinton thing, that is an insane fucking choice for this character.
Yes.
Like when CSC did that gala for Assassins with Hillary Clinton as their special guest. Keep her away from my fucking musicals, please. Jesus God.
She can go as close to Suffs or whatever as she wants, I think.
Yeah, I don't care about Suffs at all.
I don't think women should vote.
That's what Brian said.
That is a quote. That is Brian. Brian said he wants that on his tombstone?
That's right.
I don't care about women's suffrage.
So what we learn in this scene, right? Castle Village, gone.
Yeah, the castle has been set upon by a giant, yes.
And the giant wants revenge for the lad who killed her husband. If you give me Jack, I will go back to my kingdom. I will leave you all alone.
And she has destroyed the village, so there's nothing that anyone can really return to either. She's nearsighted, so she thinks Jack is in this group.
Right.
Even though he's not. And she's not going to go anywhere until they hand him over.
So they start debating this amongst themselves, right? Like, how should they hand him over in the first place? And if so, how are they going to get a hold of him?
And the narrator starts getting into a different mode than he's been in usually. He's like becoming more of like a 20th century intellectual, like a college professor offering his analysis of the story.
Now, you must understand, these were not people familiar with making choices. Their experience in the woods in no way prepared them for a force this great.
Then every other character starts looking at him.
Right.
Oh my God, they're going to give him to the giant.
And that's exactly what they do. They fucking grab him.
It's so funny.
And the audience cheers.
And they're like, he's not one of us.
You have the piano do this like glissando all the way up. And so as she picks him up.
Oh, this is not the lad. Don't drop.
And at this point now, shit has become real because he's not just like cartoon dead. He's dead.
And if you kill the narrator, then what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Because
this is a new story.
Right.
Yeah.
And they all say that. And the other thing that's worth noting here is that when the witch got like turned back from being old to being Bernadette Peters with big boobs, at that point, she lost her ability to do any magic.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to be able to bring any of these people back to life either.
I will specifically be trying to write this scene in Into the Woods for the rest of my life.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's so funny because I feel like there's so many bad lessons to learn from this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, all your favorite characters hanging out and like we're getting
Game Master Anthony, the musical.
This all could have been bad.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The original Marvel movie.
Yeah, like this could have been so bad.
And part of why this scene works, and this is a scene they came up with later. It used to be the narrator made his way all the way to the end of the show.
Oh.
This scene works because they don't fucking do this anywhere else in the show. It's not
right.
It's self-aware in the way that every James Lapine thing is self-aware, but it's never a fractured fairy tale. It's never Shrek.
No, except for Brian Darcy James does it, then it is Shrek.
Of course.
When he does it as Shrek, of course.
But that's just Shrek.
Yeah.
To be clear, that's just
they're
Shrek
still
on
doing this
stage.
musical. Shrek's just in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not doing Shrek. Shrek is doing Into the Woods.
So in this scene, it's actually a surprise that they have broken the fourth wall in this way, pulled the narrator in, and killed him. And he's not the only one who dies.
Right.
Jack's mother gets into a shouting match with the giant, and the steward, who I mentioned before with his fuck off mustache, smacks her over the head with his staff.
And we get a blood effect here, which is really important in order to ground this moment and make it not feel like just cartoon violence. I will say in general, I was so impressed with how this scene was directed because it still feels in the world of the show that we've been seeing up until this point. But now there is real danger that did not exist before.
And right after she gets cracked on the head, we see Rapunzel running in, unaware of her surroundings, screaming, and she runs off, and the giant is walking away and steps on her.
Not even on purpose.
Not at all on purpose. So we have there's this awful like crunching sound that comes with that, and Rapunzel's prince comes back on stage.
And he looks genuinely devastated and like almost close to vomiting. Like in terms of the princes, I feel like Rapunzel's prince actually does love Rapunzel in a way that Cinderella's prince, I think, just kind of views Cinderella as a toy. You know, and we'll get to that more in their scene together. But yeah,
he loves her, but he's straying. But what we see of him in Act 2 is him following Rapunzel and trying to help her. So then we get back to Jack's mother. As I said before, Barbara Bryan had arthritis in both of her knees, had to be helped down in Sunday in the Park with George and everything. So James Lapine devised this iconic death scene for her where she stays standing up the whole time.
Don't let them get Jack.
Oh, we won't.
Promise me you won't let him be hurt as I stand here at death's door.
I'll do all I can.
Promise. Promise!
It's all right, I promise.
Jack.
Josh, how did this work for you? You're the newest to have seen this production.
It's fucking great. It works like gangbusters. I mean, it's just such good direction. This is one of those examples of something that is extremely theatrical that would not work outside of the context of theater, but is so much better than any other way that you could possibly portray it.
It's actually written in the script as well. It's written in the stage directions. You can, of course, do whatever you want with the stage directions, but it's pretty common that amateur productions will have Jack's mother die standing up, just like this.
Yeah, and God, it's horrifying.
But it's so funny,
her expression, it looks like a horror movie.
And then Little Red Riding Hood is like, cool, a dead body, I'm going to poke it.
Yep.
But this is really important because when we get to the movie that didn't happen, the movie, this big scene happens and nobody dies in it.
What?
Because they cut the narrator out. It's just James Corden narrating the movie. And Rapunzel ran off because they compressed the timeline. There's no year-long gap.
Yeah.
And also, Jack's mother, for some reason, dies later. She still gets hit in the head, but she walks off, and then they just find her body later on.
Be a really stupid movie if they made it.
That would suck.
Yeah, it sounds really
This
bad.
scene is so important.
So glad this never got made.
Because these 3 deaths show you that, like, we're on a different timetable now.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different world, different rules. Like, the apocalypse is here.
This is the world I meant. Couldn't you listen? Couldn't you stay content, safe behind walls?
And this reinforces all of her beliefs, right? This reinforces, like, I was totally right to wall her up and keep her away from the world.
No matter what you say, children won't listen. No matter what you know, children refuse to learn.
The priority now for everybody is surviving.
Yeah.
And then also figuring out something to fucking do about this witch. But these characters are gone. They are fucking dead.
And Mattie, something I really admire in your work is your ability to kill off characters, even major ones, at certain cruxes. Do you think that Into the Woods had anything to do with that? Did that influence you, like this scene in Into the Woods specifically?
I mean, I think
you in
maybe, you know, on some level, I think the sort of the way that in Sondheim shows generally, he's never afraid of it.
Yeah.
Or is never afraid to like just take, like, here's like a huge change, even if it's not necessarily a death, because there's not a lot of death in a lot of his musicals besides, I said this and Sweeney Todd, right? But like a big, huge change to the world that we are existing in is like not even scary, but I think kind of necessary to tell stories that are interesting because like, I don't know, it just feels, it was never not an option to do that kind of stuff. Like why wouldn't, if you're doing, if I'm writing a story where the danger is potential death, why would someone not die?
Well, I think for some authors, it's because the idea of killing a character who they love so much is too much to handle. I think that's a big piece of it.
Yeah, and I think maybe I'm so reticent to call it cynicism that's in Sondheim's work, because it's not.
Right.
I think like he has a great love of humanity and like and people
and hope in it.
I'm just like I don't have any illusions about how the world functions, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not cynicism. It's not like being jaded, but it's like in that family of emotion where I'm just like, well, I don't I don't think of my characters as like my friends.
Yeah.
They're not like real people that live in my brain. They're like characters in a story I'm writing. I think of the characters the best I can. I kind of round them out. And I almost do like acting it out with myself more than anything.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, here's me playing this role and here's me playing this role, having a conversation. I just never conceive of it as I've created these two people and they tell me what's happening because I just don't have.
Yeah. If you just let them talk to themselves, they will throw you to a giant. So you absolutely should control them as much as you can.
Because that's what they're going to try to do, right? They're going to try to find Jack. They're going to try to give him to the giant. The hope is that this sacrifice will be sufficient for the giant to go back up into the sky and leave them alone forever.
Yeah, the witch has decided, I'm just going to find this kid. I'm going to solve this fucking problem. Right. I don't care.
Everybody else is being a little too reticent to address the matter at hand. And so the witch is like, fuck it, we ball.
It is straight up his fault.
The royals all disappear. We have the baker, we have his wife, we have Little Red Riding Hood, and we have the baker's child, the baby. And the bakers get into this whole argument. They're going to fan out, try to find Jack before the witch does. They think that they can bring Jack to the giant and reason with her, have him apologize, and then fix everything. So they have this big blow up, this fight with each other. And the baker's wife says, okay, 100 paces, just go. And the baker doesn't move. So she goes. And then he goes. And Little Red Riding Hood is left there alone with the baby. The next scene brings us to some other part of the woods. The baker's wife is doing her 100 paces and she runs into Cinderella's prince.
Anything can happen in the woods. May I kiss you? Any moment we could be crushed. Don't feel rushed.
This is ridiculous. What am I doing here? I'm in the wrong story.
You can play this a number of different ways where you can have the prince be as menacing or as honest as you want. And I think the right register to play this in is exactly the one that they found in this production.
Yeah.
Where he's skeezy and a bit manipulative, but nor is he a fucking rapist, you know?
And this
she's into
this
it.
has to be something that she wants, right?
Yes.
The whole first act, she keeps talking about, like, tell me more about the prince when she's
she
talking
wants to be
Cinderella.
swept off her feet, right?
She sees him and she's like, oh my God, he's so handsome and chiseled.
So like the first adult relationship in the show.
Yeah.
Almost.
He's got those wolf abs.
He says that he's interested in her and she's like, okay.
Yeah.
What? Whatever.
And we've already been lavishing praise on Joanna Gleason's performance, but she's so fucking good here, man.
Wait 1 moment, please. We can't do this.
Of course, you're right. How foolish. Foolishness can happen in the woods. Once again, please, let your hesitations be hushed. Any moment, big or small, is a moment. After all, seize the moment. Skies may fall any moment.
You see her give into this temptation to hook up with the prince, and they bang.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is that for this scene to work mechanically, the onus is on her to demonstrate the extent to which she is into this and wants this to happen. She is the one who's actually in control of it mechanically, which is not necessarily what you'd expect.
She has this moment that this is a really fun scene to play as the prince. I didn't do a very good job as the prince, but I did have fun with this scene. She's like, no, this is morally, this is wrong. And he's like, right and wrong don't matter in the woods, only feelings.
Yeah. The prince has an armband that says consent is sexy on it. Do you know what I mean? Like he's that kind of guy.
And I think that's what matters. You convince her with words and then she's like, okay, yeah, sure. You know what? Fuck it. I'm mad at my husband anyway.
Is this Prince Charming the ultimate male feminist?
He's an ally for sure.
He's looking at the camera and he's saying these woods are a safe space. His hand on his chest.
I mean, kind of, right?
As this is going on, they do a sort of like fade to black, the stage version of that with them. And we see the baker running into some woman dressed as a stunted kitchen wench.
Ooh.
He's like, you look just like the princess, but dirty. And realizes, he's talking to Cinderella. Her mother's grave is completely destroyed. And he's like, come back with us. Nothing sexual. This is a very brief scene. They come back. Then we go and return to Cinderella's prince and the baker's wife. In this production, they roll down the knoll.
Mm-hmm. Whee! That was fun.
They're all disheveled.
Making that land every night must have been very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say.
It's very specific. It's like they roll 3 times and then he gets up and says,
I must leave you.
Why?
The giant.
Oh, yes, the giant. I had almost forgotten. Will we find each other in the woods again?
This was just a moment in the woods. How a moment shimmering and lovely and sad. Leave the moment.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Yeah.
And this leads into the baker's wife's big number.
Was that me? Was that him? Did a prince really kiss me? And kiss me? And kiss me? And did I kiss him back? Was it wrong? Am I mad? Is that all? Does he miss me? Was he suddenly getting bored with me? Wake up, stop dreaming, stop prancing about the woods. It's not beseeming.
This is the thing that wins her the Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This is a song that,
hands down,
as written, wouldn't necessarily bring down the house. It's not a bit, it doesn't get big at any
it's not
point.
showy.
But the way that Joanna Gleason does it, you're going to get a standing ovation every fucking time.
It's just her, man. She's got some magic in her. Like, this is not the big showstopper song for me of the show. Like, the songs that I go back to over and over and over again it's not this song. And then every time I hit it, especially when I'm listening to the cast recording, which is mostly how I engage with this show, I get here and I'm just like, holy moly, is she fucking good?
Must it all be either less or more, either plain or grand? Is it always or is it never and? That's what woods are for those moments in the woods.
Her role is like sneakily maybe the best in the show.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot.
Yes.
I mean, this show it's got like a bunch of really incredible roles for women in it.
She's a complex character, right? She there's so much that she wants that isn't getting met by her circumstances. And when she has the first opportunity to go out and find that thing, it turns out to not be what she was hoping for.
Yeah.
But you still feel for her, even though some of the things that she has been doing are, I don't know, you could say morally questionable because it's coming from her place of need. And you really believe it,
She feels almost anachronistic.
Yeah.
A little bit like
There's a very modern moral that she comes across.
It starts with her being very like, and she is the baker's wife. She doesn't have a fucking name.
She doesn't have a name. Yeah.
And by the time she dies, she's so self-actualized.
Yeah.
It's such a journey for this character to go on that I every time I'm kind of astonished at it because it seems at the beginning of the show you're just kind of like, oh yeah, she's fun.
First a witch, then a child, then a prince, then a moment. Who can live in the woods? And to get what you wish only just for a moment, these are dangerous woods. Let the moment go. Don't forget it for a moment though. Just remembering you've had and when you're back to ore, makes the ore mean more than it did before. Now I understand, and it's time to leave the woods.
And she talks about like, well, what if life could just be moments like this? And then it's like, well, if it was just this, then you'd never know you had a moment. And then, maybe I could just keep the prince on the side for the rest of my life. And then she's like, no, I have to say goodbye to this. This moment happened and it's done. Mm-hmm. And that makes my life more meaningful, which is a very real thing, but it could, I think, even as written, could come across as insincere.
Right.
But she arrives at that point.
Or like self-justification, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what it is.
She's like, no, this actually does sort of reinforce why I love my husband and why I love my child and what I love about my life.
Yeah. And then the state kills her before she can invent ethical non-monogamy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Then she dies. She realizes that she's lost. And then we hear the drum beats of the giant approaching. And we get this big red drop behind all of the scenery here. And that's it.
And it is a reading that I don't know how true it is or whatever, or if it's a sort of like a postmodernist reading or whatever. But a thing that I had heard about the show before that I think makes a lot of sense to me is that some of this feels like it's about AIDS and just like this like random fucking thing that kills whoever the fuck it wants to out of nowhere. And it is so random. Like who lives and who dies is such a crapshoot. And it's this terrifying thing that no one can get their arms around.
And we talked about this. We did an episode on the play As Is earlier this year, which was kind of the first AIDS play. Sondheim and Lapine have said, well, we weren't really thinking of that when we wrote it. But they also wrote it in 1987, and they're New Yorkers making theater. There's, Michael Bennett had just died.
Right.
I think if Into the Woods, they started this whole process and they wrote this 10 years later, it wouldn't happen this way. It wouldn't play out in this fashion.
Yeah, no.
It's what everyone is dealing with. It's what everyone is feeling. And for anybody going into that theater and seeing it from 1987 to 1989, that's all you're going to be thinking about when you see this moment.
The best person in your life has died out of nowhere for no reason. And everyone else is just kind of around wondering, like, do we have to reconstruct our lives out of who's left?
You are going to write it regardless.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I talked about at the beginning of the show. When we were working on the show, there was this car accident that involved a bunch of students in my high school that just randomly, one of them died. Two of them were very seriously injured and in the hospital for a very long time.
Were these kids who were in the show?
One of them, the mysterious man. Yeah, he'd fractured his lower lumbar. That was right after spring break, right? So the beginning of April, and we were opening the show at the end of April. So it was kind of hard to not see the parallels going on in your own life when you're doing a show like this, especially once you get to this second act. And it was why we all sat around after this happened. We're like, are we canceling this? Do any of us want to do this? And we're like, no, we want to do this more than ever.
You have to do it.
You kind of have to.
It was one of those weird things. My sister and I did not get along very well when we grew up. We
get along better now.
Very antagonistic people to each other. And the first time that we ever really did get along was when we did Into the Woods together. I was a freshman. She was a senior. I mean, these were her friends. These were people that she grew up with, and being able to do that show with each other, like just being able to build that sort of understanding with each other. Yeah. This was the first time I ever saw theater as something that wasn't just like film, but less so. And it made me realize that like this was the only thing I ever wanted to do with my life. Because I hadn't discovered podcasting yet.
The ultimate art form. Yes.
Yeah, truly.
I think too that like the function of this moment in the show is exactly that. It's grounding, it's regrounding all of us, even in a way that the previous deaths didn't do. Because those other characters were characters we cared about, but we were not invested in them in the same way that we were invested in the baker's wife. And so now the baker, like his piece of the journey is so fucking important because they still have that kid.
Into the Woods is like not just one of my favorite shows, but like one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And I'm just, and you're just like, why do you like it? And I'm like, I have no fucking earthly idea. So like to think about why is illustrative and sort of is nice to do.
For me, it's that it's a musical about living, and it's about like the act of choosing to live.
This and Company kind of having a fun.
Yeah. No, it's so fun to be like, oh, see, this is where it's just like Company. This is where it's just like a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. This is where it's just like Sunday in the Park with George. It's like, fuck you, Steve. Fuck you and your fucking amazing career of just banger after banger after banger.
You piece of shit, Stephen Sondheim.
And also anyone can whistle.
That's not even true.
Which has its good points. So now we find ourselves in the aftermath of all of this death and all of this destruction. This scene reminds me a lot of like the Seventh Seal, where suddenly you realize that there's this whole found family that's all kind of just going along for the ride in the middle of this plague. We've got all of our living characters back together. We've got the baker, Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, the baby, and now the witch drags Jack onto the stage, which was very fun for my sister to put me in a headlock and throw me onto the ground.
Oh, I'm sure. And Jack has around his shoulders the shawl of the baker's wife, which the baker clocks and says, "Where did you find this?"
And she says, "I found him crying over her like she was his own mother." And Jack doesn't know that his mother is dead yet.
It's because of you there's a giant in our midst and my wife is dead.
But it isn't my fault. I was given those beans. You persuaded me to trade away my cow for beans, and without those beans, there'd have been no stock to get up to the giants in the first place.
Wait a minute, magic beans for a cow so old that you had to tell a lie to sell it, which you told. Were they worthless beans? Were they oversold? Oh, and tell us who persuaded you to steal that gold.
See, it's your fault.
No.
So it's your fault.
No.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
It's true.
Wait a minute, but I only stole the gold to get my cow back from you.
So it's your fault.
Yes.
No, it isn't. I'd have kept those beans, but our house was cursed. She made us get a cow to get the curse reversed.
It's your father's fault that the curse got placed and the place got cursed in the first place.
If you know the Shakespeare play, I'm sorry I'm doing this. If you know the Comedy of Errors, there's that great monologue at the end of it where a guy is like, okay, so here's what happened. And he does the entire plot of the play in one page. That's what this musical is. It's everyone doing the whole plot of Into the Woods up until this point as an accusation against each other to figure out who we're supposed to blame.
One of the big themes of Into the Woods is solidarity versus recrimination. That these are sort of the options that are available to a group of individuals. They can choose to stick together as a unit, or they can choose to peel off one by one. And obviously at this point, everybody's been peeling off one by one. So it makes sense that we have this number here.
As an audience member, you are a step ahead of them, where you're like, oh, it's like a little family. Like it's a new little kind of family. And they even make that thing about like, oh, it's like his own mother. Cause it's kind of like, oh, like they are now have this level of cohesion if they want it. That's there. And they are like, yeah, they're the fucking Lost Boys now. They're all together like a little unit. And the first thing they do is start screaming at each other.
Yeah. Yes. He put tonality to neener, neener, neener.
Yeah.
And then the witch tells them all to shut the fuck up because she has the 11 o'clock number.
It's the last midnight. Soon it will be boom, squish. Told a little lie, stole a little gold, broke a little vow. Did you have to get your prince? Had to get your cow? Have to get your wish, doesn't matter how. Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say something that you are all going to disagree with. I think this number was poorly staged. For me, this is the one weak point in this particular production. It did not feel motivated to me. Bernadette certainly felt motivated. How could she not be? But like, I felt quite strongly that this was a real missed opportunity from a staging perspective.
I think James Lapine would agree with you. And he restaged the scene in 2002 to have a different action involved in it, which led to a lyric rewrite that was disastrous for the whole song.
Oh.
Where she has taken the baby and she's like, I'm going to leave and start with this baby, have a new life, and then kind of decides against it. So it's like, meh.
You're so pure, but stay here and in time you'll mature and grow up to be them. So let's fly, you and I, far away. I'm the hitch, I'm what no one believes. I'm the witch. They're all liars and thieves like your father, just like you will be too. Oh, why bother? They'll just do what they do. It's fun.
But yeah, I think Lapine would agree with you. They accuse her, she shushes them, and then she sings this very spooky song where she's basically saying the sky's about to fall, and she takes all of the old beans from her garden, basically the only thing that's left of her home, and scatters them all on the ground, and is like, fuck all of you. Anyway, that whole curse where she turned ugly and had powers, that came from her mother when she had the beans stolen. So by that tack, she should be able to get her powers back and teleport away from here.
And instead, the woods eats her.
Could be.
Is that what happens here?
You're just saying
that's the other issue I think that I have with this scene is that I don't really understand the resolution of the number itself.
No,
She's
it's just that she goes away.
After proving nihilism, right? That's the whole thing about this number is that the witch is like, it doesn't fucking matter. Take the beans. We're going to have a million giants come down. Fuck you all forever. And then she gets eaten by the woods.
But she also points out the real criticism of them, right? She says, you're so nice.
You're not good, you're not bad, you're just nice. I'm not good, I'm not nice, I'm just right.
I think about that lyric maybe once a week of my entire life. It's like reoriented my relationship to how I live. It's just an important distinction and people don't make it. That nice is different than good. I think about it and why I love New York City, the Big Apple, baby, go Knicks.
Go Mets. Just got fucking eliminated today.
Rip to the Mets. But yeah, I think this distinction is really important in that, like, I would say in America, people are nice, but not good. And I think here, where I live, people are good but not nice.
Agreed.
But like, you know, this sort of thing that like people will silently help you and like not make eye contact.
Yeah. Well, it's like again, frame this in 1987 New York City during the AIDS crisis.
Right.
The nice, God-fearing Midwesterners are not going to be there to fucking help you.
Right. And the way that they like go to the royal family early on, like there's a giant and everyone's like, oh, thank you so much for your concern. Goodbye. Like,
and also, for that matter, the nice, polite Upper East Siders aren't going to be there to help you either, right?
Nope.
Like,
No, they're all at Jeffrey Epstein's house.
Whoa! Who's that?
Good question. Who knows?
I'm developing an incredible bit where every time someone makes a reference to something, I ask what it is.
Who's that?
Who's that? Who's Charlie Kirk?
I think you're exactly right. And this is something that this is always a way that I have tried to live my life as well. Is I don't want people to remember me as being nice, but I do want people. I mean, I don't care if they do or not, whatever. I genuinely don't fucking care. But I do care about whether or not they remember me as having made a positive, meaningful impact on their lives.
Yeah. And what's funny is after the witch is gone, right, she does kind of leave a positive impact on everyone's life in that they all acknowledge that they were all partially responsible
except
for what's happening.
Except the baker. Because the baker is timid. He has always struggled. He can't even keep his wife at home. He doesn't know how to be decisive about anything. He tried to steal a little.
His wife's out there voting.
Every good man should always be keeping his wife at home. I agree with you.
After learning the lesson from his wife about like, scamming and stealing, he tried to steal Little Red Riding Hood's cape. And then she cried and he was like, oh, I feel too bad about this. I have to bring it back. He managed to kill a wolf, but it was sleeping at the time. He is not someone who has really actively figured out how to live. He won't even hold his own child. Because the child cries and it makes him feel weird. He's too neurotic about the whole situation, even though the child needs to be held by him sometimes. So he runs away.
I thought you were dead.
Not completely. Are we ever?
As far as I'm concerned, you are.
Is that true?
It's because of you that all of this has happened.
You know, he's bound to the woods as some kind of a spirit. I always like it when the costume design gets a little bit more supernatural or makes him look more like a tree or something like that.
This is the fulcrum of the play for me. This is the thing on which the whole play turns.
This is the song. This is why if I ever get a chance, if there's anyone out there, I'm just putting this out there right now. If there's anyone who listens to this show who is planning on directing or producing an equity production of Into the Woods and you want a baker. And yes, I'm blonde. That doesn't mean that I'm going to play the prince better. I can't sing it, but I can sing the baker. Call me.
And if you need someone to play the mysterious man, I already look 20 years older than Brian, despite being only 2 years older than Brian.
And if you need somebody to direct the production, I'm available.
That's true.
Mattie, will you paint the set?
I'm not available.
Mattie is booked and busy. AJ,
That's right.
Dare you?
I can never return to set painting while working on the set for Annie. I was painting some of like the big Times Square set, and I was painting the sign, which was humongous, and the one that we had, and I forgot the U in square, so I could actually never return.
You say this is like the scene. Why?
Because like I said, Into the Woods is a musical about living. It's a musical about choosing how to be alive. And this is the song that shows how that works. And it starts with the baker singing,
No more questions, please. No more tests. Comes the day you say what for, please.
Poco rubato. It has this kind of like the rhythm is driven by the singer. And the mysterious man says,
Running away, let's do it. Free from the ties that bind. No more despair or burdens to bear out there in the yonder. Running away, we'll do it. Why sit around resigned? Trouble is, son, the farther you run, the more you feel undefined. For what you have left undone, and more what you've left behind.
He sings something that's a lot more melodic and a lot more legato. And the mysterious man, for the first time in his life, and for the last time in his life, chooses to be a father. And he says, here, son, let me tell you what happened to me. I never lived. because I ran away. And all that will ever define me is the stuff that I didn't do. And then he leaves. He doesn't tell him exactly. He doesn't say, you should do this. He leaves, disappears, whatever. And the baker still sings that phrase, no more. But it's not, oh, I just wish all this bad shit would stop happening to me. It's, I'm going to stand up and oppose it.
No more giants waging war. Can't we just pursue our lives with our children and our wives till that happy day arrives? How do you ignore all the witches, all the curses, all the wolves, all the lies, the false hopes, the goodbyes, the reverses, all the wondering what even worse is still in store? All the children, all the giants, no more.
I have to choose. And the choice may be mistaken, but the choosing is not, right? This is another Sunday in the Park with George thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back. I think that a lot of productions don't center this, usually because you have someone with more star power as the baker's wife, right? You've got like Jenna Russell or whatever. You're not going to waste that. So you're going to put a lot more energy onto Last Midnight, of course, and onto Moments in the Woods. Thank you. And this song, No More, is also coming right before the actual song that everyone has to sing together. And so you have to make your decision on where you give most of the weight. But I really strongly make the case for this scene. I think this scene is so important to just the basic idea of the show. The baker comes back and he says, you know what, I'm here. And he holds his son. The baby's crying like always. And he says, this baby always cries when I hold him. And then the baby stops crying.
Right.
And they work out a plan. They get pitch, spread it on the ground, just like the prince spread pitch on the stairs to get Cinderella's shoe. Cinderella's bird friends, they kind of snitch on her prince to her. And then they're also like, we'll peck out her eyes. She's like, great. And Jack and the baker climb the tallest tree. And in the high school productions, you could also just make it Rapunzel's Tower, which, you're reusing a piece of the set from earlier. And they're going to, so the birds are going to blind her. They're going to club her to death. Cinderella and her prince, they have a little moment where they see each other. And she's like, damn, dude, you blew it.
You fucked it, bud.
And those last two lines, the last couplet of that, I think, are so incredibly efficient and economical in their storytelling and are so profound and wonderful and get to the core of those characters, which is, I shall always love the maiden who ran away and I the faraway prince.
Beautiful.
It's
really nice.
It's fucking gorgeous. And it's also in a musical that is usually musicalized. But Sondheim and Lapine always leave rooms for just spoken lines to land. And it's a fucking miracle.
Yeah, it's like a Connect, George, Connect.
Yes.
Little Red Riding Hood comes back on stage. They had gone past her grandmother's cabin. She sees that it's destroyed and that her grandmother is dead. So her mother is dead. Her grandmother is dead. And she doesn't know what to do. Are we really about to kill somebody?
Yeah. And you feel the noose tightening at this point, too.
Are we really justified in all of this? And Cinderella's like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I can at least tell you that you're not alone right now.
Mother cannot guide you. Now you're on your own. Only me beside you. Still you're not alone. No one is alone.
So Jack and the baker are on top of this very tall tree. Jack is like, wait till my mom finds out what I did. This is going to be amazing. And that's when the baker breaks the news to Jack that the steward killed his mother. And so Jack is, of course, okay, well, we're killing this giant for good reason. I've killed a giant before. This guy murdered my mother. I'm going to go and find him and kill him. And the baker's like, don't do that. And Jack's like, why? He's like, I don't know why. I don't fucking know, but it's not right.
The baker shows what kind of dad he's going to be, right? And because parenting is not about knowing the answers, it's about trying fucking anyway.
Someone is on your side. Our side. Someone else who's not. while we're singing our side. Maybe we forgot they are not alone. No one is alone.
This goes from being just comforting someone to say you're not alone to saying, well, they're not alone either. Your enemies are not alone. And we might not be doing the right thing. And everything that you do has consequences.
You move just a finger, say the slightest word, something's bound to linger.
Which is not a comforting thought.
No one acts alone.
No, but it encourages you to be heard.
Yeah.
It encourages you that if you want something, you have to do it.
And I love that this musical is like, yeah, what Jack did wasn't justified in the first act. You know, because he wasn't living a fairy tale that teaches a moral lesson. He was teaching look how cool we are, the English.
He did a little colonialism.
Yeah.
And now we're maybe still doing the wrong thing, but it's the thing that we've chosen to do and we're going to do it.
This puts such tremendous trust in the audience, in the children, right? In a way, we cover so much evangelical media on this. No evangelical project would ever come close to trusting kids this much to like understand and comprehend that the world can be two things at once.
But then in this moment, there's still the big question about like, wait, are they going to tell the giant where they are in that tree branch? Because when the giant comes back in, there is still one last opportunity there to not go through on the plan, right? And Cinderella and Little Red go back and forth a little bit about whether they're going to do it. Of course, they do it. The giant gets bludgeoned and dies.
A lot of sound, a lot of special effects, and a gigantic fucking head falls onto the stage.
All of a sudden, boom, the music is back. We're upbeat. We're back in the ha-da-da-da-da-da.
But something's different. Something's weird.
All of the dead characters return and tell lessons. Then, you know, we're wrapping things up. We don't know what the concrete details of everyone's life is going to be, but we have the baker, we have Cinderella, we have Jack, and we have Little Red Riding Hood. There's this lyric. Now there's you, me, her, and him. And it's so brilliant because each one of those characters has someone that they could point to for you and for me and for her and for him. And of course they have the baby. They're like, well, what are we going to do now? I'm on my own. I don't have parents. Little Red doesn't have parents. Cinderella, she's not going back to the castle. The baker just has this child and they realize we could just be a family. We've gotten this far. Let's try it out and let's see if this works for us. And the baker has this moment of like, and now I've got to be a parent to my child who doesn't have a mother. And the ghost of the baker's wife returns.
Maybe I just wasn't meant to have children.
Don't say that. Of course you were meant to have children.
How can I go about being a father with no one to mother my child?
Just calm the child.
Yes, calm the child.
Look, tell him the story of how it all happened. Be father and mother. You'll know what to do.
Alone.
Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Do not let it grieve you. No one leaves for good. You are not alone. No one is alone. Hold him to the light now. Let him see the glow. Things will be all right now. Tell him what you know.
Once upon a time, in a far-off kingdom, there lived a young maiden.
Careful the things
young
you
lad.
say. Children
Childless
will
baker.
listen.
This is a story that you pass down. That's what all these fairy tales have been. They become fantastical and weird, but they all started because of something somewhere that needed to be imparted.
And I think, too, that there's something really, there's different ways that you can read this. One thing that I took away from this is that sometimes this is also about the way that we tell stories so that we don't have to talk about what really happened. Because The truth of the matter with Jack and the Giant is that Jack was very clearly in the wrong the entire time. And the way that the entire thing resolved was an absolute fucking travesty. It was a complete miscarriage of justice. And that's what happens sometimes. And guess what? There's probably still going to be consequences.
Did they get every bean? No, there could be more giants coming.
Yeah,
and
we don't know.
I don't know. It just made me.
That's for In Through the Woods.
That's right. Blowback season 8.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, right? Is it just makes me think about the American Project and like fucking 9/11 and the way we were talking about this today. The fucking shooting that happened at that Mormon church. That guy was a fucking Marine.
We had 2 mass shootings today, and both of them were veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah,
we send them away to, kill the giants that threaten us. They come back home and just destroy everything around them because that's what happens with that kind of violence.
What you realize is like, yes, you got all these moral lessons imparted to you by these stories, but you do eventually enter the real world where you're not going to have a good answer to anything that you do.
Yeah, and children will listen, so be careful the things you tell them.
Right. The witch comes back on and says that children will, in fact, listen. They always do.
Children may not obey, but children will listen. Children will look to you for which way to turn, to learn what to be. Careful before you say, listen to me. Children will listen.
As we said before, if you move your little finger, say the slightest word, something's bound to linger, be heard. It's an admonition to the audience. Everyone is sort of an actor at the end of this instead of their character, and they are talking to you out in the theater, which is why this doesn't work as a movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're saying, look at what we've told you, and remember, this stuff is going to stay there forever because none of us are alone. All of us exist within a community.
I mean, this is my big bugaboo about adaptation generally, is that almost every successful piece of media has a reason why it is that kind of media.
Yeah.
And if you're going to adapt it, you have to figure out what about the new media can impart those same things. So this is a show about telling stories to people that needs to be live theater experience.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out how to do that in film and what that has to do with the context of what a film is before you're going to do that. And no one's going to think that hard about it because they never made the movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Thankfully, the movie never came to fruition.
So the Into the Woods, of course, ends with one final line. Pause.
Shit.
And we're done, right?
Why'd you
The
do
story never ends. Nothing ever ends.
And remember, if you want something, that's wrong. Never want anything.
It's such a complex piece of media. It's so shocking that this is the one that gets popular.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's other musicals by Sondheim that are so much simpler, and not a lot of them, but some of them are pretty simple in terms of like Sweeney Todd, very simple, straightforward story. But I just think I love, it's the sort of thing that once you listen to it a bunch or see it a bunch, these other things start coming out about what stories are we telling and to who and for what reason that just really sticks with me a lot. And that's the stuff that I think more directly influenced a lot of my recent work, which is thinking about these exact reasons, themes rather, about what is a story, what is history, Yeah,
and also when you in your story in simplicity, the idea of moving just a finger and something is bound to linger, the actions of the characters in the novel then resonate out hundreds of years after they've done the thing. I'm not going to spoil the end of the book. Some of those things linger and some of them don't because of the systems that are put in place. Yeah. But I do feel at the end of it, this very strong influence of Into the Woods.
Well, I think, AJ, you've done a great job framing up the very piece of material that Mattie now has recently published. So, Mattie, why don't you tell us a little bit about that, about where people can get it, and also just if people want to follow you around or whatever, what should they do? Because you have stayed with us for a much longer time than we were originally expecting, and I so appreciate your willingness to be a trooper.
Of course. Well, I'm excited to start the episode.
Yes.
Yeah, we got all the
3
prep
houses.
work done, yeah.
Okay, so we got 3 houses.
Okay.
Jack is a dumb guy. No, my new book is called Simplicity. It is at every fine bookstore you could possibly imagine, or you can go to simplicitybook.xyz, and then I'll take you to the bookshop.org landing page for it, where you can order it from your local or just online. And it's about, it's about a lot of things, but it's about love and revolution and being horny and history, cults and capital and nature and all sorts of stuff, and being lost in the woods and having great tits. That's not in there. But wouldn't it be nice?
Bernadette Peters.
You can find me on my podcasts, No Gods, No Mares at nogodsnomares.com, or go to temporalculturewar.com for Temporal Culture War. You can find me at MattieLubchansky.com for, if you want to come, if you want to like see where my social media is, newsletter, that sort of thing. Or if you want to follow me around, you can come to my house. And if you stay exactly 10 feet behind me singing Agony, I will allow you to do that.
You will see a link down in the episode notes for the book. Go buy it. It's great. And also, if you are listening to our show for the first time, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. I would say if you liked what you heard today, go back and check out any of our other musical theater episodes. And also, we had Mattie on before to talk about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So go check that out. We also have a very affordable Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to all of our premium episodes in our back catalog. We put those out every other week, as well as Fancy Movie Time with Brian and AJ, where they talk about fancy movies. But no matter whether you choose to subscribe on Patreon or just listen to us, we appreciate that you're here.
So this time through Into the Woods, the thing that really struck me was Sondheim and Lapine's original intention for the show, which was to demonstrate the effectiveness of community action and the importance of investing in your neighbors to overcome the struggles that you face. Obviously, in this time, the AIDS crisis was well underway. The senseless deaths at the hand of forces that are greater than all of us separately. And it's really hard watching this show in a time in this country where there is a giant just stomping about, destroying everything, fucking left and right. And it can feel so hopeless, and it can feel like all you want to do is turn to somebody else and scream that it's their fucking fault. But the final lyrics of No One Is Alone is something that I have been turning to a lot recently, and I think it says it better than I ever could. So I am just going to quote Sondheim directly here. Hard to see the light now. Just don't let it go. Things will come out right now. We can make it so.
Someone is on your side. No one is alone.
I'm the worst of all possible AJs.
I'm the worst of all possible Brians.
And I'm the worst of all possible Joshes. See you next week.
I wish.